We are live. Welcome to the Red Blue Pods number 81. And I thought I inserted like the intro that Dre did, but apparently not. I don't know how this works on StreamYard, but Gray basically has created an intro, and I don't know if maybe I need to click on it.
Well, I hope
Oh
that intro
my.
is. I hope that intro is incredible because if not, well, great. We're gonna have to hunt you down, buddy.
You're going too far, bro. And we also got an intro for a window to our minds, but this one I will keep it as a surprise for the season finale that
Yeah,
will be like
where's the
next month.
cocaine in it?
Bruh, we are already
Dude.
blacklisted from YouTube because of that comment, bro. They don't like the white. You knew it. You knew it. That was a conspiracy.
YouTube.
Yeah, like some words like instead of using the D word, let's use like substance.
No,
and
sorry.
stuff.
What I meant was I meant coat on like a cane. You know, caning it up there. Sorry.
Hmm.
So wait, which words aren't allowed?
Pretty much a lot of like words, like an S word that we can't say, but we're not even gonna say it. So we had to say it like a U version. Yeah, YouTube
Bedroom
is
fun
so
is the
strict.
perfect one. Bedroom fun is like the perfect version of it.
Yeah.
Bedroom fun. I like that. That's fun.
Why you can't say video games then? Wow. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube gets so strict nowadays. It's like, yeah. I don't get YouTube's issues, but honestly, it gets so strict for no reason.
Well, this is the future of freedom of speech. Anyhow, the first topic of today will be Spider-Man 2 2004. With that being said, how are you, Cole?
I'm doing okay right now. Thanks.
What about you, Alex? How are you today?
I was doing well, and then I watched Fast X. So
And now you're better for it.
Movie
No,
of the
okay,
year,
I'm okay.
guys. Movie of the year. What about you, Dre? How are you today?
I'm doing good. You know, here to talk about movies. Good times.
Hell yeah! And what about you, DC? How are you
Doing
today?
fine. You know, just stealing Gray's body. It's been fine and perfect.
That sounds weird, my friend.
uh,
Are you on something?
uh,
Anyhow, I am doing good as well. I'm a bit tired. I basically do the training for my new workplace, and it's in the morning, and I've been working overnight and evening for like the last 8 years. So waking up in the morning is like a chore. It's the worst.
do be like me. Be an independent worker.
That sounds
Be like me.
fun, but too much work. Anyhow, let's start this discussion. Who wants to go first on Spider-Man 2 2004?
I can go. I don't mind.
Go ahead then.
I'm always down to go first anyway. But yeah. So Spider-Man 2, again, I hadn't seen this thing in years and years, and I had a great memory of it. And I was really, really, really hoping that it would hold up. And God, it does hold up. It is really good. And I want to say that like the first thing that I saw, those opening credits that kind of do a playback of the first movie, they were drawn by comic book artist Alex Ross, and I feel like that is a statement as to how much love was put into this movie and how much respect was put into the comic book roots of it. The fact that they got Alex Ross to draw the opening credits, I think that is goddamn beautiful. Um, and just from that, like the opening sequence, where you see, Peter trying to, be Spider-Man and, have a job and be a student at the same time and all of that shit, that is not only a perfectly made sequence, but also it shows you exactly what is going to be Peter's narrative arc throughout the movie, which is trying to, figure out what he wants to be, what he wants to do, if he wants to have a normal life or if he wants to be Spider-Man. And and that's always been a theme, in the Spider-Man universe in general, whether it be the comics, the movies, the games, whatever. It's him trying to find a balance between his superhero lifestyle and a regular life. But I feel like in this one, it's very, very well treated. It's very good in that way. So yeah, finding like a balance between that life, between those lives. And I was excited because I knew that Doc Ock was in this again, of course, played by the wonderful Alfred Molina, and he is excellent. Like that scene where he, he's in the two scenes, like the one where he's showing his machine, and then he transforms. Some of those Sam Raimi horror roots are shown there very well. Like, when Alfred Molina's wife dies in the movie, it is brutal. I don't know if you guys remember, but it is a...
Yeah, I remember.
Right? The glass shards coming towards her, and, seeing her reflection screaming in one of them, that is brutal. It is terrifying, and only Sam Raimi could have done that. Same for when Doc Ock wakes up in the operating room. That sequence is terrifying, and it is straight out of a horror movie. It is. It's exactly what he would have done in any regular movies. It's beautiful, and it's terrifying, it's horrifying, and it's pretty dark. I didn't remember it being that dark, that insane. So it's very, very cool. And that's the way the overall movie is made, is directed. It's so smart in the way it's created. Like, for example, again, that's at the end of that sequence where Doc Ock wakes up for the first time as a villain. He flips a car, and you see him through a broken window that is shaped like a spider web. Just like showing that, hey, he is now officially Spider-Man's enemy for the film. And I think that is just such a smart and clever way to show it. And they do so many things like this, like and Mary Jane's play that she's doing in this one, which is the importance of being earnest. And if you guys don't know the play, it's about this guy who is trying to seduce a woman and assumes a fake identity to try to seduce her, which is exactly what's going on with Peter. And the point of the play is to figure out, like, what do you really want to be? You need to be, authentic to yourself and to what you need and to what you want. And so that play mirrors exactly Peter's narrative arc in the film. And I think it's very much brilliant. And of course the action sequences are nuts, especially that train fight near the end. That train sequence is so well made, so intense. Like, I knew how it was gonna end, but I was still like on the edge of my seat. I was still like, "Come on, Peter! Come on, Spidey, do it!"
Yeah.
It's so well made, and it became iconic for a reason. And the way it ends, with Peter basically sacrificing himself to stop the train and being transported by the people who like see that he's just a kid and everything. It's a nice moment to end that incredible sequence on. And that movie is filled with stuff like that, and there's one thing that I did not remember, which is the whole thing about Peter losing his powers and trying to actually have a normal life. And I'd completely forgotten about it until I rewatched it. And the way they do it, basically, he's having a burnout. That's what it is. He's having a full burnout because of what he's doing, trying to balance that Spidey life and that normal life. He can't do both, and so his powers are giving out. which is again another great way to thematically make him choose. And so, for like a little while, in the middle, Spider-Man 2 turns into It's a Wonderful Life with Spider-Man in it. You know, where Peter figures out what life would be for him if he never got bit by that spider, and he loves it. That's the tragedy of the thing, is that he loves that life. He likes it better. He doesn't have all of those problems, but he doesn't. But at the end, he doesn't have a choice and needs to sacrifice those parts of his life that make him happy to be the actual superhero that he needs to be. And it is very satisfying to watch, but it's also very tragic for that character because he just wants a normal life. In this movie, he's really like realizing that he never asked for this. Really, he just he wished he could have a normal life. Date MJ, have good grades, have a job. It's impossible for him, and that's the tragedy of that character. So yeah, overall, I think this is an excellent film. It is as good as a superhero movie can get for me. And I came out of it, saying to myself, yeah, I don't think that any superhero movie will ever top Spider-Man 2. I think that even though it's almost 20 years old at this point, I mean, it is going to be 20 years old. We haven't beaten it in terms of a superhero film and the quality of it. So yeah, that is what I have to say. And there's one thing left that I have to say is that I do think that it loses a little bit of that comic book cheesiness and charm that the first one has, but it makes up for it with more intensity, more action, better character arcs, and better stakes in the narrative. So I feel like it's a really good trade-off. So yeah, this is an excellent movie. Love Spider-Man 2, and this is what I had to say about it.
This is funny because when you were mentioning the girl, the wife basically getting torn apart, I was about to leave, but I was like, that's a kid's movie and we have that kind of stuff in it. It's like they took risk, man. And
Yeah.
it's
Well, I mean, you don't
cool
see any
taking
blood,
risk.
right?
Yeah.
You don't see any blood when it happens. Like you just kind of see her fall over, and you don't see the shards.
Yeah.
But it's
gruesome.
And you can imagine it is still gruesome because it's almost worse not to see it because you imagine exactly what it's like.
Yeah. So I will let Cole go second.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, don't have as much to say, I guess, in comparison to Alex. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with him on everything. Though, love the film. A huge Spider-Man fan, but yeah, this is definitely my favorite film, probably out of the bunch, and the one I think is the best. Just the direction and art style, and just all the imagery moments from Sam Raimi is wonderful. And I love Alfred Molina's performance, just fantastic, especially the climax and everything. And just so many fantastic action scenes with it too, of course, and with the train scene and everything. Well, not sorry, trains, a subway scene and everything like that. Probably Tobey Maguire's best performance in his career. Same thing with the rest of the supporting cast, probably. And I also, this is probably James Franco's best portrayal of this character. Wasn't as big of a fan of him in the others, but I liked him in this one though. And yeah, music is of course fantastic as well, and the cinematography, not too much more to say, but yeah, just really love the film, and also just all the messages and story to it. Like this has pretty much every sort of like plot plot point and storyline that you want in like a superhero film, and that we've seen in others. Like I mean, we've seen a lot of like comic book movies, but when it comes to like the actual like superhero, that word to it though, like the movies that actually try to get that right instead of other films that are like comic book but do other things like The Killer and Sin City and all that stuff. This is probably the one that like tops all them when it comes to like executing it all properly, like and just getting all the smallest things and details right that you really don't see in like the newer ones, especially like just him like helping out like with the smallest things. Oh yeah, Brian, that just reminded me of that fucking pizza scene. God damn that bitch. Anyway, that's all. Love the film.
Feeling you. What about you, Gray? What did you think of Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, I would definitely back everything that Cole and Alex are saying. Well, maybe not everything. I had a couple of issues, but yeah, I agree. Like some of the cheesy comic bookness was taken out, but at the same time, I don't know. They ramped up a different style of comic bookness, like Alex was mentioning with the intro. Just that actual like the animation is just kind of amazing. It shows you exactly where we're going to go to it. And then there is a certain amount of cheese that they hit you with right away, like the whole like pizza time thing. Like I don't know, like it's not exactly like the greatest of all dialogue, but I love what they did in this particular one. This is my favorite out of the three. Just they bash Peter down so hard, and you really get to see like how horrible this would be and how much he's sacrificing to do this thing, but why he's doing it too, that he's not doing it for himself, he's doing it for Ben. And I don't know, just the journey that it takes him on to kind of realize the actual reason that he needs to do it. I don't know, it's just like really amazing. I like the way that they really did that in this. Some of it is rehashed ground from kind of the first one, but it's done so much better. As Cole was mentioning, the cinematographer in it's Bill Pope this time. It's not the same dude from the first one, but he is on 2 and 3. And he kind of gets that classic, just like every face looks like it's almost in like midnight hour or whatever, twilight hour, the golden hour. It's just kind of amazing. But that's kind of what I think of when I think of this. So like in ways it still is super cartoony, but it's kind of the way that they do it cinematography style, like the lighting on their face. I don't know. It's not natural light by any means, but that's kind of what I think of when I think of the Spider-Man series. And I was actually surprised a lot of that wasn't in the first one. I guess my memory kind of put Bill Pope's cinematography into that first one. I kind of forgot how dark the first one was. But I just love what they did with this one. This is the same dude who he's done a lot of Edgar Wright's films, and he worked with Sam Raimi before on Darkman. So I think they have a really good working relationship. And then just the way that they were able to do, the scenes that you guys were talking about, not only Doc Ock when he's demonstrating the thing and it goes terribly wrong, but also when he kind of the arms wake up, so to speak, when he's surrounded by the doctors. That's just so classic Raimi, and I love a lot of those shots. A lot of what Raimi was able to do with this one was just like amazing. He still used a ton of practical to augment the CG. Almost every CG shot that you see, it then ends in some sort of practical shot, which is just like so amazing, like the CG going all the way through the city and then it ends in Doc Ock's glasses or whatever. The way that he's able to do that, I don't know, some of that CG really holds up. Yeah, when he's swinging around, he doesn't exactly look like he's got a lot of weight to him, but man, what he did with this was just like amazing. And then before they were even finished with the script, they were finishing the models for these arms. It's really kind of amazing. They named each one and they had like 3 puppeteers. I think it was 2 for each arm, maybe. But
No, it was
it's just kind of
one by
amazing.
arm. It was 4 puppeteers.
Oh, was it just 1 for each arm? But
Yeah.
yeah, just what they were able to do between like a little bit of digital and then these practical arms was just like so amazing. I really like this villain. This is my favorite villain out of there. And I hated him so much in the comics, the stupid bowl cut or whichever version you get from the comics. He just isn't a very menacing guy, but I really seem to understand it with this depiction of him. And then, as Cole also mentioned, the score, just Danny Elfman is just amazing. And I forgot how like wall to wall this score is, except for the weird kind of, is it raindrops keep falling? Like music interlude, if you will. The everything's working out, gonna take a huge bite of a hot dog montage thing. Yeah, I don't know. That part I didn't remember. I think I might be able to do without that. It seemed a bit over the top for me. And then James Franco's performance to me seemed a bit over the top, but maybe I'm just kind of poisoned against that guy. But other than that, I thought everything in this was just like spot on. It is definitely one of my favorite superhero flicks.
I can fully see why. Now I will let DC go next. What did you think of Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I still say I prefer the first one more, but honestly, I can't say that this one is any worse. In fact, I'd say it's just as good. For starters, I'm gonna straight up say, yeah, I do agree with what Alex and Cole said. How it has like some dramatic stuff, but honestly, yeah, that's one aspect of some. That's one thing I've noticed with a lot of some of the best superhero movies, in my opinion, is they all don't necessarily feel like superhero movies in a way. Like an example would be like The Dark Knight, Batman v Superman. They all have a sense that they're not necessarily superhero movies, but they are, which I think, makes me enjoy them even more. Same thing applies with this one. It's not really much of a superhero movie due to the fact that it's more related on personal stuff, and that's kind of what Spider-Man is in the comics. It's not like in the MCU versions where they just have him be a superhero for no reason. And he's a member of the Avengers. Oh, very quickly, no, there's actual other characters that actually applies to Spider-Man. But yeah. And like I'd say, I think the brutality of Spider-Man 2, especially with the scene with the shard scene, that was expertly handled as well. I would also say Dr. Octopus in this film, far better villain than he is in the comics. In the comics, he's just your typical mad scientist villain who have tentacle arms. But in this one, they actually give him a lot more depth to him, and I'd say I appreciate that. Now, I also feel like he also felt more of an actual challenge to Spider-Man than really majority of the Spider-Man villains in the comics. Most of the Spider-Man villains in the comics, to better word them, are just lame Batman Flash villain ripoffs, where in this they're actually given a little bit more depth that actually separates them from who they are in the comics. And I thought that's a very clever idea. But yeah. I would also say the way this film expertly handles Peter Parker's character is something that is done so well. You really wouldn't really see it in any other movie, any other Spider-Man movie, because it's done so well. Because that's the point of the character, It's not meant to be this, happy-go-lucky, I'm the new member of the Avengers. Good news for me. It's not that. It's actually meant to be a more sad, tragic story, and Spider-Man losing his powers kind of shows them that. Because and that's kind of the point of the superhero film is all the characters, they're not necessarily meant to have a normal lifestyle. Even the superheroes that have like the most quote unquote normal still don't have like a normal lifestyle, and that's why I think Spider-Man 2 worked perfectly. It also had a perfect mixture of drama and action as well. That train fight scenes is practically brilliant. Like how it goes from J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson, tragically being upset Spider-Man's gone, to then straight up hating him, to then that wonderful music, and then you just see the actual fights. Like, it's handled so well done. But yeah. Yeah. As for like any negatives that I do have few, and that is I do think the drama is probably the worst in this, but almost nothing. But yeah, I'm pretty much done.
Well, I will say this. Remember when I said, "Oh, they are just telling us Peter is a scientist, but they don't really show us, or they don't really bring this up on the interesting way in the first movie."
You
Here,
do
it's
realize he was a
changed.
high school student in the first one, though, right? Like he wasn't like an actual scientist.
Whatever. He likes science,
Are we
but
going
like,
back to that?
no, I'm saying
Yeah,
that
we are.
now in Spider-Man 2, they fixed that issue I had with the first one. because now they show you that he can have a discussion with a scientist. He knows his stuff. He's smart. So that's already a
But
huge
didn't they kind of do
improvement.
that in the first two though? At points when he was like on that field trip or whatever.
Not that I can remember.
Really, be like the
That was the point of the whole
go. You know that thing. Remember?
Well,
field trip as well.
He knew lots of stuff about spiders, but yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not as impactful as the
Yeah, well, that was
exchange
their
he had
way
with
of saying it,
Octo.
but they didn't go as in detail into it because he was still in high school. But then now he's out, so they're showing it more. I mean, I think it makes sense.
That's why I'm saying it's better now. That's a praise I was giving to the second one. So anyhow, just in terms of entertainment and enjoyment, this movie is a 12 for me. But again, I had many issues, so that's not the final score at all. But I liked it. That's probably one of my favorite superhero movie um, among all. But again, I do think there's a few issues, so it's not what I consider the best, but it's one of my favorite. Anyhow, first issue, plot convenience: the kids walking by the street as Spider-Man delivers pizza around them. Plot convenience: bumping into the car chase with the police, only to be stopped from going at Mary Jane show. Cannot aim. Plot convenience: bumping into Doctor Octopus at the bank. It just happens to rob the bank as they are like chilling at the bank and talking about like having the
they're
loans
not
and stuff.
chilling. They're trying to get a loan. They're not chilling. They're not just like sitting on the bench being like, "Hey, Aunt May, want to hang out at the bank today just for fun?"
Inconsistency in when Spider-Man could or could not shoot spider webs, making it a lucky shot if he would access it mid-fight. I know
Actually, you're wrong about that one.
they
They,
did
they,
explain, but like it was
if you pay
shown.
attention, it's when there's too much pressure, when he's too stressed out, that it happens.
Mm,
And when it intertwines with his personal life, that's where it happens. It's not random.
mm,
Yeah, I remember thinking it came out of like nowhere when I was younger, but I always thought, maybe this could have been like a lesson for him. But now you just say, yeah, it makes a little
because
more
like
sense.
it was in the middle of a fight that I remember marking that down because like
Well, yeah, but
one
also
scene.
it was when May was there, and his aunt was in danger, his personal life was in danger, and
Well,
that's when it happens.
like the first time he loses power, he was like trying to throw a web, and he just fell off like many building floors. And area I just suspended disbelief to say, okay, he's Spider-Man, he can do that and not die. But like right after that, like maybe 2 or 3 scenes after, we get that fight at the bank, right? And inside the bank, he was able to shoot webs, but the moment he's outside, he wasn't able to shoot webs anymore, and
Yeah,
that
it's
gave the
because Aunt
edge.
May was kidnapped. It's because Aunt May was kidnapped. It's a part of his personal life, and that's when it happens, when both parts of his life get intertwined.
Yeah, I guess you just gave back a point to well, not a full point, but I guess you did brought
A
very
quarter
good
point for you,
points.
sir.
Yeah, yeah, not
Like
quarter
the
half.
first time it happens, like if I remember correctly, the first time it happens is right after he is blocked from seeing MJ's play by Bruce
Yeah,
Campbell.
yeah, yeah.
So there you go again, intertwined with his personal life. He was stopped from seeing the play because of his role as Spider-Man, and that's when it started.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's one issue that got defended very well. Um, Next up would be Doc Ock just knows where to find Peter without proper setup. I know he was hunting Peter, but like there's a scene he's like, "Oh, I need to find Peter, and then the next scene he just finds Peter.
I mean,
I thought it felt off. Even if that was his mission to get like that orb he wanted, I feel like he just knows by magic, like to make the movie faster, you know.
Well, he's a scientist, so of course. So
Yeah, it was a
he's
process of
scientist,
trial and error.
so I can kind of see how he can find him easily.
I don't. I'm
I mean,
wondering
you can,
if
you know,
if you have a valid
it-
defense to that, Alex.
I mean,
Well,
listen, he has the. It's something that's said in the movie, but he has the name. He's met the guy, so he knows what the guy looks like, and Peter Parker is probably not that hard of a person to find. Anyway, and when you know who he is.
What
And
if
he
I
probably
find him
just
in a
fooled him.
random restaurant, like he's just walking there? Oh, Peter is there. Let's go grab it.
I mean, I can kind of see
Actually-
where. I mean, I can kind of see where you're coming at, but I'm like, but
No,
Dr.
actually,
Octopus
no.
is a scientist, so I don't. I mean, for me,
Maybe
I don't,
there's a cutscene. That's what I'm wondering. Maybe there's a cutscene where
Like
they
a deleted
explain
scene.
it
so like,
better.
how long should this movie be where he like goes to 4 other restaurants and doesn't find him, and then finally finds him at like the 5th one?
You don't
I
need
don't know,
5.
man,
You
like-
just need like 1 or 2 instances.
For pacing, sometimes you got to just get
Yeah.
to it. Like, okay, now he's found them there.
Do you really need an elongated sequence where we see Dr. Octopus like being a detective and trying to figure out where Peter is?
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
two scenes like that. You laugh, but I really believe that. Cole, do you have
You
a
don't need
defense?
that.
Do you have a defense, Cole? Everyone has had their shots.
Yeah, what? Can you repeat what you said?
Doc
I think
Ock
it's,
just happens to
convenient.
know where Peter is just by magic.
When he's at the restaurant with MJ.
Yeah, I don't think that's much of a plot convenience. Like,
yeah, like
Do you
I
have a
can kind of
defense?
see.
That's my question, Cole.
I can understand it, but I don't think it's a plot convenience because Octavius is a scientist, so he should at least have a device that can at least locate him. Like,
You're
Also,
doing
you know
Ed
what?
Cannon.
Actually-
You're doing the writing of the writers, bro. That's why I don't.
I have-
get
I
that
actually
one.
have a
but I
decent
don't think
defense.
it's
Okay. I
necessary.
will hear you out, Alex. Go for it.
Okay, so Doc Ock is friends with Peter's physics professor, right? He knows therefore he knows where Peter goes to school. In those schools, they have records of where students live. He has the address, and so he could easily have trailed him to the restaurant.
yeah.
Well, that's a good explanation, but there's the other thing. Actually, you make a decent point. Actually,
Well, I mean, if
you
you're
know
just
what?
going with that, like, why
That's
is
a good
Doc Ock
defense.
like dealing
Granted.
with James Franco at all and trying to catch Peter Parker? Why doesn't he just steal this stuff from Oscorp? He already like broke into a bank and like can steal from there. Like, you think like they're more high tech and put together than a vault? Like, I don't know. Like, there's so many ways that you could like skip parts of this plot if you really want to, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it works that he finds him at a local restaurant. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also,
But I like
it makes
Alex's
sense.
take.
Also, it makes sense thematically. Again, every time that he has noticed, every time he fights a villain in this movie, or criminals in general, it's always when he has to do something related to his personal life. In this case, it's trying to reconnect with Mary Jane. So thematically, it makes perfect sense because that's the main conflict of the movie, trying to reconcile his superhero life with his personal life.
Yeah. Well, you just brought back another half a point. So by yourself, you were able to bring back a full point to this movie.
okay,
job,
how about
Alex.
the can't aim moments now? Can you bring those back?
Yes, one moment like
Can't
that.
aim.
But I can't remember what I refer to, and we have seen like too many movies. So this
Just write
this
it
one,
down, Just write it
just write
down.
it down. Anyhow, as I said, entertainment-wise, I thought that was amazing. I liked it. But again, you brought a full point back with your defense of the movie, Alex. Anyhow, I thought the humor was much better than the first one. Not that it was bad; it's just better. I just felt like it landed better.
It is
the,
funny.
the action was good, and Doc Ock as a villain was much more entertaining. I'm sorry, Willem Dafoe. You did your best. You did a good job, actually, but Doc Ock, you're just better. You're just more entertaining. Yeah. So when I look at Doc Ock and Green Goblin from the first one, I'm like, what happened in the third one? What happened?
You're saying
fired?
so are you saying Sandman was not a good villain, Multi?
Sandman was shit.
Sandman is a great villain, but we'll get that. We'll get there when we get there.
Oh my.
By the way, you prepare to see me defend Spider-Man 3 with my life.
Yes.
Right, next week.
You know, Alex, that's funny because I really wanted to love and like Spider-Man 3. I just could not. And as a kid, I did enjoy the shit out of it. But now I'm older and no. And yeah,
we'll get there when we get there. But I will defend this movie with my life.
Well, I mean, I'll defend it to being at least a competent film, but it's definitely not a great one.
So the message about identity crisis was great. Peter being Peter was entertaining, and again, the action Aunt May was really entertaining. The entire subplot with Mary Jane Watson. Usually, like, I don't give a crap about drama, but here it felt important to this movie and story, so I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. I'm entertained.
Because the MJ subplot is she's having the same character arc as Peter, right? Except in her case, instead of being a superhero, she's trying to figure out if she really wants to marry this guy. And again, at the end, she decides to be true to herself and to just leave him at the altar.
Poor John Jameson. That's just sad. He did nothing wrong. He seemed like a nice astronaut guy.
So yeah, I like the hospital scene, how gruesome this was, and it's the bond and the link between like Peter and his teacher, Peter and Otto. That was really cool. And again, I like that aspect where they give on a very creative way, like, proof that Peter is smarter than the usual kid, So I don't have much more to say. I had a blast. Just by talking about it, I want to watch it again. So for me, it's a solid and well-deserved 8.5 out of 10. Thanks to Alex bringing that grade higher. Speaking of Alex,
it was going to be a 7. It was going to be a 7.
7.5. But now it's 8.5 because you kind of defended well two of my issues. So you brought it back to 8.5.
That's why I'm here.
So Alex, what would be your grade out of 10?
For me, it's a perfect 10. I love this movie. I think it is a perfect superhero movie in every single way. I don't think it does anything especially wrong. And yeah, I would rewatch it any day.
Yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting. What about you, Cole? What would be your grade out of 10?
Probably a 9.5.
Ooh, very close 10, right? DC, what would be your grade out of 10?
Well, Cole will be happy. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay. And what about you, Gray?
Wow, I guess I'm a dick. I was thinking like 8 out of 10, and I thought I was being kind of generous on that. I mean, it is a superhero movie. I do have issues with it in a couple of the performances. For me, specifically, like James Franco takes me way out of it. I just think he's over the top, but not in the fun, like, scene-eating way, like that. I don't know, Willem Dafoe in the first one. And then I really don't like this Aunt May. Like, this Aunt May is not my Aunt May. I just don't see her reacting to push Peter away when he mentions like how he made this mistake. I don't know. To me, that's not how I've seen Aunt May in the comics. It's just not my depiction of her. So I don't know. I just feel like she's an imposter. So for me,
I really
it could
like
be
her
improved in
person.
those couple of ways. Maybe take out the raindrops keep falling on my head thing. Other than that, I could even argue like the whole losing the power subplot could leave, but other than that, I think this is a damn near perfect one. As far as like any pretty damn close to the comic series, I think this one is pretty close. It's definitely in my top 10, but yeah, I'm a dick. 8 out of 10.
You're
I think
not,
you're
bro.
wrong about. I think you're wrong about both of your points about anime and about him losing his powers. But that's me, you know, because I don't care about the comics. I just want to see a good movie, you know.
So we are almost in the same boat, Gray. We are very close by. Anyhow, DC, what do you have going on your parts of the internet?
Like I said last week, I've just been getting a lot of songs for my Marvel's DC show. Today and tomorrow, I'm not really gonna post, like a bit of a break, but Friday I should have like a song coming out. Yeah, pretty much it. I'm not sure when I'm gonna start recording videos with my voice again, but that's for a different time. But yeah, other than that, almost nothing. Other than that, nothing really.
Well, at least you're active and you do a
Yeah.
lot of videos, which is really cool and great.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that was very fun having you. Have a great day. Take care, and we
Yep.
will talk later.
Same YouTube. Bye.
Next topic, Saltburn. So that one. Who wants to go first?
Oh, which film? Sorry.
Saltburn.
Saltburn.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I know he had it as his 20th favorite film, so he'll probably like it the most.
I liked it a lot personally. I feel like I'm going to be the minority here.
I will say it's a good movie. It's a well-made movie. I just didn't like it at all. Like, no. So I will let Gray start on that one, I guess, because Alex is more positive. So Gray, Saltburn.
I've got to start. Why do you think that I would not be positive? Yeah, I'm not the audience for this. I was not a fan of this at all. I actually knew nothing about it. I had heard some buzz about like, hey, there's this amazing performance in here. You need to check this out. And then, I started up. I saw the titles, like just the title animation. It's like, okay, this is going to be awesome. Like, I really dig that font. I like the super stylized version. I don't know exactly what you'd call that, like illustrative title, whatever font, calligraphy. So I was like kind of in. And then everything else kind of took me out. I think a lot of it is shot well. They've got a lot of good actors in it. I think the story is, I don't know, rather pointless, and it doesn't really make sense. And if you put like any scrutiny to it, I don't know. There is almost zero shot that these things would not be found out to be him and why he would get the place. But fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of saw the twist coming from like the very beginning. It's like, okay, I don't see that he's just this innocent character that they're portraying him to be. And then I assume the whole reason why he didn't want to go to his parents is the obvious one. I don't know. Just no part of this worked for me. That being said, there's some really beautiful shots in this. I think the cinematography is really good. I think it's an interesting choice of like MGMT and like Block Party and like, a lot of those kind of early 2000s bands as kind of the soundtrack to it. It was interesting. Parts of it definitely looked like a music video. And there's so many actors in it that I generally like their performances and other things like, like almost every one of the actors. Rosamund Pike is like amazing. Trying to think of what her name is, who was just in that other one, and I totally can't find her. But yeah, like there's so many amazing like actors in this that I thought, there's zero shot that I will not like this, and just no part of it connected with me. The story just, I don't know, it didn't seem believable, and on top of that, like I don't know. So okay, they're in this house for like 6 months or something like that. When the hell are they going to school? Like I don't know. Like almost no part of this seemed to make sense for me, but. Uh, yeah, if this is a break, like how come it was like a 6-month break from school? Unless somehow he was able to convince them that his
it's
father
supposed
did
to be
actually
summer
die.
break. But yeah.
I know, but it's like 6 months. Like when you like add it all up, like it's way over like 2.5 months.
I don't think they do give a timeline.
I don't think
That's
they
the
gave a
problem. Like
timeline either.
and then it's like a 15-year like long slow burn that he's doing to get this place. I don't know, just no part of it seemed to really like work for me. So I don't know. Perhaps it's not for me. I thought a lot of the performances were kind of cool. I just think the writing wasn't that great. Again, like the music, the cinematography, the lighting, like everything looked great. And then even the choreography, like, oh my god, that dude,
That
Barry
dance.
Coogan or whatever, he has to have so much fucking confidence. Like I don't know, to do like a 10-minute, like, well choreographed naked dance scene is just like, I don't know. That is beyond me. That dude is so brave. But yeah, I just don't think I'm the target audience for this. I can see it's artistic, but I just think it's a total miss for me. But I could be wrong.
I feel you, man. I feel you 100%. So Cole, do you want to be next or I am next?
Sure, I guess. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, no, I like this quite a bit. I thought this was going to be a film that would be okay with what I was hearing, that people were kind of overrated and underrated, and I would just be like, it's fine, and give it a 5 out of 10 and move on. But no, this was better than I was expecting. I will just say everything surrounding this film, though, is, before I talk about the film itself for a little bit, it's just so annoying. It's like identical to the shit with the director's first film, Promising Young Woman, which had two similar sides to it, with people either calling it shit or a masterpiece, and tons of politics and personal insults and gender stuff being thrown around, thinking that and also just insulting her because she grew up in like a rich family or something and went to like a rich school and so on. So just like thinking that her privilege means she doesn't have a clue on knowing certain shit, and it's all just annoying, especially because I'm just one of the few in the middle with both films, especially the first, because of its visual and editing issues, but also because everyone seems to miss the point of both films, which is that they are stories where no one in the end looks good. And she talked about this
No,
before with
exactly.
Saltburn here, where she gave an example of what the film's fully about, which in fairness was a bit poorly explained, but that people then completely misunderstood, with her saying she doesn't truly know anyone who's fully like selfless and nice, which obviously isn't completely true, and there are people like that who are, but pretty rare though, defined as great friends, I guess. Which people then mocked her for and saying she probably doesn't, because she went to rich schools and doesn't have any, has few friends, with just more insults like this. Like, again, this whole shit surrounding this film is hilarious if you read about it online. But anyway, I understood what she actually meant though, which is that everything that everyone kind of does in life, no matter what it seems on the surface, always has like a double motive of themselves in mind, to look good, to make friends, and so on. Literally the smallest things, even, which we can all probably agree with, as we're all humans. And I think that's what she really meant by that, and how no one at the core of it all is like 100% nice and selfless. There are rare people, but they're rare, like that. And that's basically what Saltburn kind of is about to me, in like a nutshell, at least. That's kind of the entire premise of it in a nutshell, kind of, and everything it does, which I thought was executed perfectly in almost every scene. That kind of shows this on display on literally all levels, all areas, each type of person, from the least popular to most social to least social, how fake people act to look smart and so on, with even showing how it's the small things they do unknowingly that causes bad things to others that they get them to do out of like pressure for fun and to fit in, which just leads to it. I think it's all just done amazingly. God, like even the scene near the beginning with the dude trying to criticize the main characters right in with stuff that's just like so pretentious and cliche that he clearly just like thought of off the top of my head, off the top of his head when he wasn't listening the whole time. Just like that is so perfect to like how a lot of that shit is in real life. And I just think the performances are all great. Love Barry Keoghan's other roles, and he's great in this too. Especially Banshees, which Maltese still doesn't like for whatever reason.
I had many reasons, okay?
Okay, I don't know. Great.
Yeah, but they're wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are, but they're wrong.
Yeah, you should watch the review of it. It's pretty funny. But Jacob Elordi, or whatever you pronounce his name, was great too. And he's also in Priscilla, which we'll watch later in the week, I believe. And also recently replaced
Priscilla.
Andrew Garfield in Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein film. So just fun fact there, since you're looking at that multi. But then Rosamund Pike. Again, I'm bad with pronouncing names, but yeah, it was great too. And
Rosamund
yeah,
Pike.
yeah, and she's always plays these characters you hate so well, like in Gone Girl. Like, I was just talking about like Joker's Corner with this film the other day, and he was telling me how he cheered when that happened to her near the end because he hated her so much in Gone Girl. He's like, yes, and yeah, just everything else. Keep going with list off names, but the whole cast is great. I also think the direction, visuals, cinematography, lighting, and editing was a huge improvement compared to Promising Young Women, which had issues there. I also, love how this is a film we don't really get much of anymore. This is sort of, period piece tone film, despite taking place in like the 2000s style film, and especially in just like this setting, kind of reminds me of like films like Kill Your Darlings and The Social Network. Seemed to have died down after like the mid 2010s, so it's nice to see this kind of bring it back. But yeah, it isn't one of my favorites of the year, I will say that. But I definitely thought it was a great film overall, and not one of my favorites. But yeah, if you haven't seen this yet, anybody watching, just don't listen to the people on film Twitter. And also don't read all the fucking annoying reviews on Letterbox. Salvage your brain cells, just watch the film. And I'll let Alex go more in depth on this, I guess.
I will dunk on it before Alex
Sure.
and things off. Well, so
that will destroy your arguments.
That's funny because, as I said, it's a well-made movie. It's a really good movie. I just didn't like it. So
that's fine. I get it.
So my first side note: this is not an issue, so I didn't took away points from it. I just didn't connect with the story or the characters. And I don't think it has something to do with writing or anything, because again, I do think it's a well-made movie. It's a good movie, but I just wasn't having it at all. It was like a chore to get through, I will be honest. My enjoyment sits at a 5 or a 6. The movie had its moments for sure, but again, I didn't like the viewing of it. So again, I don't have any issues with this movie. It's a flawless movie, but I just didn't connect with it. I do think the insights of the liar, basically the main characters, were well made. The music, the actors did their job, like everything was good. And on the good moments, I was hooked, and I wish the entire movie was like the good moments in it. But yeah, I just don't have much more to say there. The stranger danger line was cool when they hint at the guy turning into a serial murder and stuff, and a lot is up to interpretation because we don't have straight up proof. The only person we really see him like deleting to be YouTube friendly was the mother basically on the bed by the end. That's the only character where we really have a proof that he deleted someone. Um, but yeah, um, I thought the characters were entertaining to watch and see. I just didn't connect with any of them. So I don't have much more to say. I will let Alex go.
Yeah, cool. All right. So yeah, Saltburn. First of all, I want to say that Emerald Fennell is a very interesting director. Even though I think she does have some issues, I did really like Promising Young Woman. I thought it was a fairly fun movie and pretty well crafted, and I think that it was a great message. That which is a message that a lot of people from the right and a lot of people from the left didn't like, which is, hey, everybody's an asshole. No one's a good person in this story. And because that's mostly what life is. It's not cookie cutter, good or bad, but yeah. And as far as politics go, that's something that people need to shut up about in movies, because every movie is political in some way. The filmmakers are artists; they have their own views about stuff, and they will talk about them, whether it's conscious or not, in their art. But yes, Emerald Fennell does it just a bit more, consciously. She really wants to talk about some shit. And in this case, in the case of Saltburn, to me, she described it herself as a vampire movie without vampires. And I fully understand why. To me, it's a movie about desire, right? And in this case, it's desire to become rich, the desire to attain the unattainable. Because, let's face it, like most of us, in not only here, but in the world in general, we will never attain the type of wealth and money that this family has in the movie. They have this huge domain with a maze and forest, gigantic, and this ridiculous house. And so we have a main character played brilliantly by Barry Keoghan, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite actors. Who pushes his way in, and like a vampire, sucks blood up, sucks up the lifeblood of this family, and you know what they say, right? For vampires to be, they need to be invited in a house to be able to go in, which is exactly what happens. He is this vampire, and she really uses a lot of that vampire imagery in the film. And I mean, of course, especially like the scene where he literally licks up blood in that that scene. Jesus. It's a movie that a lot of people online, especially on TikTok, are like, oh, this is so shocking, it's so disturbing. And like, with the bathtub scene and the blood scene, I just thought they were kind of funny personally, but that's because I've seen a lot of fucked up movies, so this doesn't really affect me. But I did think that they were like very, very smart ways of dealing with his vampirism. Like, for the bathtubs, it's like, if you take into account that every type of fluid from this family is kind of like their lifeblood, it works perfectly. If you think of them as being a vampire, right? I just think it is extremely, extremely well shot. And I was Gray or Cole who said that they saw the twist coming at the start.
Great.
Yeah, great. Well, yeah, same, but I don't think it matters. Because we're in the point of view of the guy who's doing it. Who has that plan.
No, I just mean the fact that they're like showing you, and like it's just like slam after like, here, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. I don't know. The reason why I was bringing it up is because they seem to be making a big deal about it. So I don't know. It just, to me, it wasn't like, oh, okay, like, wow, you got me on any of those. It's like, yeah, I assume that he did all that. But fair enough.
Yeah, because we're in this point of view. So I don't think, and I think it's not the point of like, it's just, I don't think it's supposed to be a twist, and I think it's a mistake that a lot of people who watch the movie are making. Since you're in the point of view of this guy, and the more the movie goes on, the more you see that what he's doing is
I don't know.
extreme.
Isn't that how like most twists are traditionally played? Like, and then here's how it actually happened, and then they do that same thing with the flash cut to like, here's the next part where he actually like twisted this, and then it was actually this guy doing this. I think it's just kind of the way
I
that it
don't
was
know.
presented makes it seem like,
Yeah.
and here's the twist.
Yeah, and I will get to that because I think this movie does have some issues, especially in the way it's written and directed. But yeah, I do think that we are in the point of view of this guy who does more and more horribly manipulative shit, throughout the film. And all the actors are incredible. I mean, yeah, of course, everyone's talking about Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi, but Richard E. Grant and Rosamund Pike are fucking hilarious in this movie. Like their lines are amazing, and these characters are so out of touch with the world. Like they wear tux to everything, and they don't go out anywhere, and it shows in the way they speak, the way they act. Like some of these lines are outrageous, but they're made to be outrageous to show that these people are so detached from reality. Like when Rosamund Pike's talking about her when she was a lesbian and for a while, and she said at the end, "I like it." It was she said it was too wet. Men are so lovely and dry, which is it is a really funny line.
Yeah,
and that's the point. Like she's really out of touch with everything.
that's the kind
I
of
think
good moment I did refer to. Like I forgot to mention something else. Sorry to cut you off a bit there, but that's on a tangent where I do think the movie had really good moments. Another one is when all of the lies are collapsing on the main character after the meeting with the parents, or after he basically slept with the sister, or I don't know. So these are other really great moments. But now I will let you go.
Yeah. And yeah, also, so like this movie is to me is very funny, and it is very much written as a dark comedy. Like that dinner scene after they find the body in the maze, it is both extremely dark and so funny because of how they are just trying to have a normal conversation despite what's going on. And Barry Keoghan's character, who just really Oliver, right? Oliver, who just really wants to be in this family's good graces, so he'll just go along with everything they put up. No matter what, he'll just go along with it just because he wants to be in their good graces so much. It's very, very fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it does have some issues, and I think the movie kind of crumbles, in the latter half. When it gets more and more obvious what he's doing, and and the more you see his machinations, I think you can really feel that the plan doesn't really make sense, and that a lot of it is just bad writing. But the movies, but I kind of forgive it because the movie does still have a point, which is that we all want that type of life. We all want to be rich. We all want to attain this unattainable dream. And it shows that some people are willing to do anything to get it, and they are the real evil ones. Even though everybody in the story is kind of an idiot and kind of a villain, like it's. And I think it's a very, even though some of the ideas of the movie are very much on the left, like the fact that Oliver is bisexual and like all of that, I think it's very much a right-wing movie in many ways. Because in the end, he's the worst of them all, and he's not the rich one. They are more shown as the victims than he is.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though, like in any other type of movie, they would be the bad guys because they're the rich ones. They have the power.
Yeah.
Right. And the more the movie goes on, the more evil he is.
That's true.
And before I end it, I just want to talk about Archie Madekwe, the actor who plays Farley.
Yeah.
I think Farley is a very interesting character in this because he's the one who managed to get in, right? He is the one who did it. And Oliver, sees him as his main enemy because of that. Because he's the one who actually managed to do it, to vampire his way through his family to the point where they will give him money anytime he needs. And that actor is really good. I mean, he was also the main actor in Gran Turismo, which also came out in in 2023, and he was really good in this.
Yeah.
Since he's kind of new to the scene, he's kind of a new actor. I think he should be watched because he's very talented, and he's so despicable in this, so pretentious, and I love it. So yeah, overall, I really like this movie, and also I think it's obvious to say, but I think everyone just wants to fuck every single member of the cast.
Except of the old mother.
What,
That's the only exception for me. The mother. I don't know the name of the mother.
What the hell are you talking about, Multi? No, Rosamund Pike? She is beautiful and amazing. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think
you
so.
are off on your own weird island, sir.
Yeah. And I think there is this one character in the movie which is the butler. I forget his name. The one that terrifies Oliver every time that he sees him.
That dude was awesome. His performance was awesome.
He was great.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is a bad movie at all, and it's not like for any political reason. I don't think it's that well written, and it really is that latter half that just like lets me down. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just not for me, but I can definitely see why people like it.
I feel like the creator is much more political than that, but hey, we are still into that movie.
The creator really it is political. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
And that Duncan, that character who is, I think he brings up an interesting point. That character at some point, when Oliver is alone in the library, and he says to him, "Are you lost? It's easy to get lost in Saltburn." And I think this line really speaks of the themes of the movie and like how you can get lost in that fantasy and that deep desire to become that rich, to have that power, that money, but you'll never really attain it. But you can get lost in the fantasy, and that's what happens to Oliver. He gets lost in it so much that he has his plan and he does what he does. So I think it is the best line of the movie for me in terms of the themes and everything. So I'll wrap up real quick, but some of those sequences are brutal. Like everybody's talking about the bat sequence, the bathtub, and the blood sequence. But for me, like the hardest one to watch is the one with Oliver's actual family and the karaoke scene. The karaoke scene is extremely brutal because of the lyrics, that he's forced to sing about, like having these people pay his rent and giving him all his money like he's a parasite. And it's which is funny because he's it's very much projection, because Farley, who is doing that also, is the one who chose the song for him to sing. Yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to touch on. It was a bit messy, my thoughts, because I didn't write down anything for this one. But yeah, I really liked Saltburn. I think it has massive issues in terms of writing and directing, and in terms of pacing. But for me, the positive really outweighs the negative.
That's good to hear. Anyhow, I guess, except if someone wants to add more to this, we can move to the grade.
Mm-hmm.
Cole, what would be your grade out of 10?
7.
7 for you. What about you, Gray?
I think I'd go lower than that. I guess I'm just an ass this episode. I think I'd go 6. Like I'd have to go higher than that. I guess I'd go 6.5. There's some really iconic shots. Like there's the one of Oliver looking out the window, and like it does the like 3 versions of him. Really looks like this like amazing like I don't know 70s like Sears photo. It that looks amazing, and like there's a bunch of other ones like the outside shot of the actual like Saltburn. I don't know. There's a lot of shots that'll kind of stick with me, but I don't know. I think the writing wasn't quite there. Like the end to me just kind of loses it. So I think I'd be stuck on a 6.5.
That's interesting. Now, I said it. If we just speak about entertainment and me watching it, that was a 5 or a 6. But I also said it's a good movie. I do think it's well made, and I tried hard to find issues, and I didn't find issues that were external of myself. I didn't find issues with the movie itself. So because of that, I will give a 10 out of 10. But again, it's not a 10 out of 10 that I'm like, oh, I adore this movie. No, it's just like, I do think it's a solid movie. It's a well-made movie, but I just didn't like it at all. And what about you, Alex? What would be your grade?
ratings? Oh god, man, your ratings are so confusing. But yeah, for me, I guess because of all of the issues that the movie does have. But for the pure fun that I had watching it and the enjoyment and how funny I thought it was, yeah, for me it would be a 7 also.
Okay. Well, next topic will be the Holdovers. So who wants to go first on that? I will let them go, and I will be right back.
I think Cole, you should go first this time. I'm taking over the podcast. No, nobody wants to go first.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Cole's still with us right now, but I don't know.
His PC's
do
lagging.
you have any thoughts on the Holdovers, sir?
Yeah, I can talk about it for a little bit because I really liked it. So yeah, all right, the Holdovers. Alexander Payne is a director that I really like. He's made movies that I think are very, very much brilliant, like Election, Nebraska, Sideways. I think he's just very interesting in how he writes and directs. And this movie is very much a dream project for him, from what I gather. And it is made to look and feel like a movie that was shot in the 70s, and I think that it works perfectly for that. And it is a movie for it's a Christmas movie for depressed and sad people. That's what it is, because you have these 3 main characters. So the teacher played by Paul Giamatti, the kid played by Dominic Sessa in his first ever performance in anything, and he's excellent. And Davine Joy Randolph, who plays the cafeteria lady, and they all are grieving or are depressed about something. For her, it's losing her kid in Vietnam. For Paul Giamatti, is just him never having accomplished his ambitions. And yeah, for Dominic Sessa, it's very much having been abandoned by everyone in his life. I mean, his classmates, his parents, and he is stuck with people that he really dislikes. And I think the beautiful thing about this movie is that all of these 3 characters, throughout the course of the whole thing, will try to find the happiness and I don't want to say the Christmas spirit, but sort of, in that terrible, in that situation, and how they feel about it. And I think it's done in a very funny, very smart, and very, very honest and sincere way. Paul Giamatti is an actor that I really like, and I was really, really happy to see him again in a leading role, especially a role that is so meaty. That he can really seek his fangs into. I'm really going on with the vampire team right now. Yeah, mean, it's a tough movie for me to talk about because even though I think in terms of writing it is brilliant, I don't think I have much to say about the themes and the directing. But it's just a movie that when I finished it, I just felt really good. I felt like really warm inside, and I was, I was just happy to have been around these characters, for the course of that 2 hours and 15 minutes, which for me doesn't really show. I don't think it didn't feel very long to me. And I saw it twice, once in theaters, once at home. And I do think it has one of the greatest insults in film history.
Just got a
When
few
Paul
of them.
Giamatti tells when he tells the principal at the end, "You are penis cancer in human form." That that is peak insult right there.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just really like how they're all, Dominic Sessa, who as character Angus, the character's name is Angus, who's been abandoned by his family, finds a sort of substitute mom and dad in Paul Giamatti and Davine Joy Randolph's characters, and both of them find a kid in him, but her a kid that she lost, and him a kid that he never had. Which is why that ending, when Paul Giamatti leaves the school after having been fired after defending him, it was really, really sad for me because it's very much like he was losing a parent of some sort, even though like it's someone that everybody else in the school hated. And yeah, I think that Paul Giamatti and Davine Joy Randolph really deserved their Golden Globes that they received. They were both excellent. They both made me cry and laugh
Yeah,
really
well, he
hard.
actually won the Critics' Choice, I believe, or both of them even.
Right, you're right. But yeah, either way, they deserved the awards very much. And again, like Dominic Sessa, first ever movie role, first role in anything. He nailed it. He really, really. It's a home run in terms of acting, and I really hope that he gets a great career after this because he is a promising actor, very much a promising young man, if you will. And yes, that's pretty much what I have to say about the Holdovers. I really liked it too, and I'm happy because this week because we have a lot of movies that I like a lot.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah,
say.
it's rare. I mean, we also have Fast X, so we got all your favorites.
I gotta say something. The more I think of this movie, the more I feel like that's one of my favorite movies we covered for 2023. And yeah, I really enjoyed all the characters. They feel real. Their stories, their bone, they all feel very real. And it's also very funny how the way they started the movie, I was very worried that we would deal with like a crowd of like 10 characters that won't get any growth. So the moment I realized, oh, they are getting rid of half of the characters and now the focus is on these three, I was reassured. I was glad and I was feeling good because I was like, oh, okay, now the true story, the true movie, it starts now. And we will bond with these three characters. And they are all very well written. And I just enjoyed the experience a lot. Like at every scene, at every corner, I liked it. The fact that this kid keeps lying and he's like very relatable because his parents are always on him because he's lying, and he also has that struggle with the sick father.
Yeah.
That was so
He's
endearing.
very angry. He's a very angry kid.
Yeah. And we cannot blame any of these characters to be the way they are because they are shaped by their experience they had. So yeah, so I praise a lot, but I gotta be honest, I had two issues. Issue number one, way too much telling instead of showing the sequence where we learn more about the cook's life with the son.
What would you want to
Wow,
show
that is
from
a hot
that?
take, man. That we're just supposed to have a
Yeah.
flashback to like her
Hell
husband getting
yeah!
killed on the docks, or sorry, her fiance,
Hell
and then we're supposed to
yeah!
also like flash to her kid getting killed in
Yeah,
Vietnam.
that would have
I
just
don't think
ruined
so,
the
man.
moment.
Like that's
Yeah.
a different movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
disagree.
and it makes us
I
think
think he
about
did.
it and
Yeah.
his life. Like if they showed it, it would have ruined it. Like it makes us think ourselves and makes it more emotional and heartbreaking. Like I don't get that.
Yeah, I
Plot
agree.
convenience, bumping into the other Harvard teachers since they were all at the right place in a big city.
How
Dude,
is that
alright.
a plot convenience?
It's not.
I don't
Can
get
you?
this stuff.
I don't know.
Because
Like
that
it's a
triggers that
thing that occurred,
discussion.
but
That's
so you could never bump into anybody.
it's a
Yes, and
big
also
city.
They're
it's
in
not like it was
Boston. That is
crucial
that
to
is
the
where Harvard
plot.
is.
If
It's not
that
like it
was
crucial to the plot anyway. All it did was them the one character figured out just like some of the backstory with it. It was not like it was crucial to any point to like how the plot moves. So who cares either?
yeah,
So-
if they didn't at that moment, maybe the teacher wouldn't have never opened up to the kids, and maybe the kid would still hate him the same way he did.
wait, what? I am so confused.
No, at this point they're already pretty close, man. This is like at the end of the second act, like right before they go see his dad. So he already likes him. They already like each
Yeah.
other. So this is just this is character development, and yeah, and so it's not a plot convenience. It's just a way for him to talk about his past.
Yeah,
it's
but
like-
me bumping into that former
Look, it happens all the
colleague
time,
or whatever.
literally. Like it happens all the time. Like when you get out of like high school or college, that's gonna happen where you bump into like a former classmate. It happens all
If
the time.
that happened in the village, I would be like, okay, that's
Plot convenience.
that's a smaller place. That kind of makes sense, but
Well,
it's a city. It's a big place.
and
Well, but it's the ice skating rink in the city. It's a main attraction that a lot of people go to.
Yeah.
So
And it's
wouldn't
during
you possibly
Christmas.
run into somebody you know there?
Okay, great.
And
won me
also,
over.
what
Okay,
would you have
great.
rather happened? That he just started, going into a random monologue about his past instead of that, which is much more natural and much more organic?
I'm fine with the backstory. Again, I just feels like that was plot convenience, but Gray brought a fair point, a fair defense.
Was that part show don't tell because he mentions that the other guy plagiarized from him and it didn't like show the other guy plagiarizing from him?
Gray just wants to tear me apart. You already got your defense, bro.
Dude, they
So
really
I-
wanted a flashback of like Vietnam explosions.
Anyhow, again, I adore this movie. That's now because Gray kind of found the right defense for one of my two issues. That rise up the score for sure.
No. Correction. All right. One of the two issues you decided to accept wasn't an issue. All right. Not that we didn't bring good points for both. All right.
Tomato.
One is what he gets. But I did like this movie much more than Saltburn. But again, the score won't really reflect that. But anyhow, the humor was on point. The actors did their job, and the music felt like a Christmas movie. And just like what Alex said, it's a feel-good movie. You go out with lots of emotions, and I will.
I think he said it was a depressed person's movie, not a feel-good movie.
No,
Yeah,
but
but
you
it
do
makes
feel
them
so
feel
good at
good.
the end. Like I said that it's a Christmas movie for depressed people.
I like your approach. I like your answer. But yeah, I did tear up twice. I tried to find one of the two places. The second time was at the very end, but the first time I can't find it in my notes. But I know I did tear up
Was it with
twice.
his father?
Maybe.
Was it with her like returning to the one house and like seeing the photos and everything, or
No, that was most likely
Mhm.
the father probably, but
They do make it like they're going to a cemetery and then kind of pull the rug out from under you. I can
yeah,
see that.
the message about the artists, every character's insecurities were well depicted, well explained, and the main character
Oh,
got. Oh yeah. What?
I think I figured out where it was. Is it where Mary's looking at the box of her child's items?
I did feel something there, but I don't think I
Okay.
tear up. Um,
Okay. That scene it tugs at the heartstrings.
yeah, I did feel something. Like this movie makes you feel a bunch of stuff, and this is why I do think it's one of the best movie we had this year.
Mhm.
And I will also say that the growth of both the kid and the teacher was wonderful. Like the teacher is made the way he is because of his past and because they wanted to give him a proper character arc where you get to change and give more freedom because he obviously didn't give enough freedom, and in sacrificing himself for the kid is a perfect example of what some people do when they are parents. They do sacrifice their happiness for their kids,
Mhm.
and this is just wow, great movie. I don't have much more to say. I don't know who wants to go next, Cole or Dre.
Cole,
yeah,
you
my
came back. Do you want to
PC
go
is having
next?
issues. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Also, you can see
for
my
some
cat in the
reason there's
background.
like legs
Yeah,
all the
white
time. Oh
cat.
yeah, for a cat. Yeah, I guess I'll quickly go because I basically have similar thoughts as you. I mean, yeah, it's just a great feel good film. That's basically like a almost like a film that was like locked away in a time capsule in like the 70s and only released till now, and almost feels like a lost genre of films.
Mhm.
You know, the
Yeah.
performances are all fantastic, and I enjoyed the direction, editing, and cinematography too. The music was nice as well. I don't really have like any issues with this film with how it's made. It's just very nostalgic feeling and something that everyone sort of goes through at a certain point, and I just love how they focused on all their issues equally too. And yeah, just fantastic all around there. This is one of those films where I will say, maybe if I started getting really into films like this later on, and then this was one I watched earlier
Mhm.
on during that time, I would be more into as other people are. But I don't know, I've seen many films like this where it's sort of the plot and story and everything, something you kind of can predict what will happen from start to finish. But it's that kind of the point though, like one of those comforting, emotional, intellectual films, that's purposely a bit by the numbers, like that you love in its execution, and for that reason, I just think like it was kind of done better in other films I've seen though. Like I don't have any issues in the film itself. There's just ones that I think were done better and that I connected to more. Like the more that we talk, listen to you guys talk about it and think about it, the more it slowly grows on me. So maybe that will change over time. But for right now, again, great film, just not one that I was as connected to on that level. But I did watch it around Christmas time as a depressed person, and it did help a bit. So hey, good job. But yeah, I mean, big fan of the director though. I would say my
Yeah.
favorite film of his is probably Sideways, which again is a film that gets better the older you get, which I think is
Oh
just
yeah.
a theme with his films overall. But yeah,
For me, it's Nebraska. That's my favorite of his.
nice. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a while and have to rewatch it.
Okay. I guess Cole is done for now, so we will let Gray go next.
Yeah, so I really did not think that this would be the film for me. I'm not into like feel good films. From looking at like the poster of it, I hadn't watched a preview or anything like that. I just saw, like the Broken Christmas Ornament, Paul Giamatti. I just assumed that this was going to be just a feel good holiday movie. I was familiar with the director. I liked Sideways in Nebraska, but he's kind of hit or miss with me, Alexander Payne. I really didn't care for Descendants, and I can get why people like Election, but it's just not for me. So I don't know. I didn't really know what to
What
expect
about
with this.
Downsizing, his best film?
Oh, and I
Celebrate
really did not like
Downsizing.
Downsizing.
Yeah,
I forgot about Downsizing. Yeah. So I don't know. I wasn't expecting much out of it, and like Cole was saying, it feels like this is just a lost gem. Like it's directly out of 50 years ago now. Like it seems like it is from the 70s. Like it is a period piece, but everything that they did with it is just so damn close. Like they did end up shooting on digital. They tried a bunch of different versions of film, and they actually found that it would be cheaper and looked better to actually do it on digital and then add the scratches into it. Oddly, but they were testing out actual film. They still used like a lot of the really cool lenses back then. And then they really kept the camera stationary, and it was just kind of amazing, the panning that they did, and like the really cool pulls of focus. There's some shots of just like Paul Giamatti walking this like L shape at the beginning that just kind of like sticks with me. And then there's, when he comes out and yells as well, there's like this really awesome, I don't know if I guess I should learn the camera movement for that, but it's just a very iconic shot. And then there's just these long, slow dissolves that like nobody does anymore. And then it's not just the digital scratches that they added to it. Every one of the logos at the beginning, they went to that like fallback, throwback, just like amazing 70s version. I don't know. I went in kind of expecting to hate this thing. And I got to tell you, like, this is on my top 3 of 2023. This film is just like amazing, and it just stuck with me. I don't know why this like hit me the way that it did, but God, like every part of it is just like so amazing. But the other parts that he did with the audio is he did it dual mono, just like all those old films are. It makes the audio muddier, but it just gives it that period right feel to it. And then every bit of the music is period correct. And for some reason, just like in parts of the Eastern Seaboard, they just have 70s wood paneling everywhere. These aren't sets that are built. The reason why they look lived in and they look real, those are houses that they just found that were in pretty much that condition. They almost did 0 set dressing. The restaurant is a real functional restaurant bar there. I don't know. There's a reason why it has this authenticity. Same thing with the Candlepin Bowling Alley that they have. I don't know, like it just has this like real feeling to it. And they even shot it, I guess, February of last year, and it happened to be during a snowstorm, so that just worked for them perfectly. But every bit of this just seems authentic to me, and I guess that's why it resonates. Kind of speaking of what like Alex was saying earlier, that like everything is political. There are like political things thrown into this, like
the Vietnam War, first of all.
Yeah, well, that is looming heavy in the background. But if you go with like the individual characters, they're calling him like a fascist and stuff. But he seems to hold, Marcus Aurelius above, the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, like all those, spiritual texts. That is definitely a point of view. It just doesn't seem to hit you over the head with it. Like, this guy is definitely correct. This guy is the true voice. Everybody else is a fool. I don't know. I like the way that they did it with this. But yeah, the war looming in the background is a real thing. I don't know. This film just like really affected me on so many different levels. I did end up seeing it. I watched it, I think, right after the podcast last week, and it just kind of stuck with me. So I actually ended up seeing it again yesterday. And I went and saw it with somebody else, and they were like, I don't get why this like affected you so much. And they're like, yeah, he lost his job. And it's like, no, like he didn't just give up his job. Like he saw it as this kid would be, essentially forced to go to military camp, which would force him to go to Vietnam War. he saw trading basically his life for his, because Paul Giamatti did not have a life outside of there. Like he, made up that he goes into the town all the time, but he doesn't. Like he stays on campus. That is his entire life, since he basically went to prep school there, went to Harvard, and then had to go back there. Like that is his life. So I don't know. It just seemed like more than a sacrifice of he just gave up his job. Like he gave up his entire life. I don't know. It just really touched me more than I thought it would. I thought all the characters in this were just like amazing. But yeah, Mary Lamb's the character Mary Lamb was just like played amazingly.
Oh yeah,
and then yeah, exactly. And then even the waitress, Carrie Preston, I know I've seen her in a bunch of things. Like I think she was in like True Blood, but she was awesome in this as the secretary and the waitress lady. But yeah, the makeup in this too, they haven't said exactly what they did to get Paul Giamatti's eye to be wall-eyed, but that was practical as well. Like I don't know, that was creepy and it really was effective. But I don't know, just everything about this kind of hit me in a very special way, and I wasn't expecting that. I truly expected to hate this going in. But yeah, this is on my top 3 of the year. I really dig this film.
I feel you, man.
To rebound on what you said, about the Vietnam War, and the whole thing. Like I feel like we didn't really mention it, but they do have the fact that so Mary's son went to the war, and the only reason he was at that school was because her mom works there. Otherwise, there's no way that he could have afforded it. No way. And he's also he's also black, which is very important was very important in the Vietnam War, because a lot of poor black kids were sent to die for the U.S. military back then, just because they didn't have a choice.
Yeah, and if he had the money, he could have gotten the academic deferment, but
yeah, there you go. So it really resonates, like that, and she even says that he chose to go to military school because he didn't have the money to go to to university. They could not afford it at all. And that resonates very, very well with the character of Dominic Sessa, because that could very much be his fate. So there's a very well written parallel in there, like you underlined. Great. And I think it's just a brilliant way to do it. The fact that we see that this guy died in the war because he went to military school, and that it could be the fate of the main character. That raises the stakes very much, and it's a brilliant way to do it.
Agreed. I fully agree. So I'm wondering if any of you would like to add more before we move on to the score out of 10. I guess not. My score is a 9.7 out of 10. Thanks to Gray rising up.
0.7.
Hell yeah, because I only got one issue. Cole, you're next.
Yeah, as he said before, it does 10, 9.7, and then 9.5, but then the rest from there is just 9, 8.8, 8, 7.5. So
well, that's perfectly logical.
Yeah, it's logical. Hell yeah.
Anyway, mine would be an 8 out of 10. But again, the film's slowly growing over time for me, so you never know. But yeah, for now, an 8.
What about you, Alex?
8 for me also, even though I don't really have any major issues with it. That's just with the general feeling that it left me with. So yeah, 8 out of 10.
What about you, Gray?
Yeah, it's a solid 10 out of 10 for me. Like I literally could not think of one aspect of it that could be better. Every bit of the lighting, every bit of the dialogue, every character's intention, everything just seems so perfect. And then like on a second watch, you can see, when characters started kind of putting things together, like, you can definitely see him kind of steal the snow globe a little bit earlier, or at least get the idea of it. I don't know. There's a lot that's going on this that I didn't notice on the first watch. To me, I couldn't come up with one thing that could be improved on this. It's perfect. So for me, perfect 10.
Hell yeah, we are in the same boat. Well, nothing.
So I just want to say something.
Yeah.
Multi, I know you don't like to watch old movies, but if you like this, you should watch movies from the 70s because they are very much like this. A lot of them.
Oh
They're
my.
they're very much politically charged, and to me, the 70s is the best period in the history of
Why?
cinema. I don't think
Why?
we topped it. So yeah,
Why?
if you want, I'll make you a list of suggestions, movies from the 70s or
Yeah, I mean, hey, you kind of liked well, you liked Rocky too, I guess, and I don't know if that was
Depends which one, but most of them I did like them. Yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
Rocky is
He's
78.
Yeah, he's watched quite a handful so far. He hasn't really liked any of them. Texas Chainsaw, Cuckoo's Nest,
My.
Halloween,
These two.
Godfathers.
These, bruh, all of the ones you mentioned. Oh my.
But,
Are
but here's the
classics
thing.
and considered on people's top 100 lists. Yeah.
And this is why I'm bad
Here's the
movie takes from now on.
Now that you done, but yeah, now that I know that you like the Holdovers, I can recommend movies like that from the 70s that have that kind of vibe.
Like, you mean like Kramer versus Kramer?
Yeah, I mean it's a very good one. Or I don't know. I'm trying to think of some. I'll have some.
You see, there's another thing, and I may sound crazy there, but when it's before 2000, there's always that handicap for me. I'm not saying that all movies prior to that are bad. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's like they
I
start
feel like
with
you would like.
that bullet in the foot, because it's made in the past and it has limitations from the past. But again,
Yeah, but
I
that's
could
a
be
that's a
surprised.
quote. That's a quote that I told you already in private. But yeah, like, if you haven't seen the movie, for you it's new, no matter when it was made.
Yeah.
Just try to
And,
think of it as like an older style like this, but it's new.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like you would really like the older Woody Allen films, like Annie Hall, Manhattan.
I was thinking about
you
that,
could really
but I
like
don't know if
those.
he's as into.
Oh, I bet you anything it's
romance.
pacing issues with those.
Yeah,
my
that or not funny, not funny.
And The Deer Hunter is one of the most tragic and
Oh, he's not gonna like
hard
that one, I think.
to watch.
But we'll see.
Cole knows me very well because it's almost like now it's a year and a half we talk weekly like that, so Cole's knows what I like usually, and sometimes I just surprise him because I have weird taste, but like he knows
like
me.
he hated Banshees of Inisherin, and I don't get why still.
I mean, a bunch of people hated it. I thought it was amazing, but
I didn't hate it. I just thought it wasn't as good as you thought it was.
Well, you gave it a 4.5.
That doesn't mean I ate it. That just means I think it's a bad movie.
Score. You gave the Christmas special
Hell
Star Wars a higher score.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You gave Troll 2 a higher score.
No.
Well, I mean, Troll 2 is a classic.
Troll 2 is like a freaking 2 or 1, bro.
Yeah, well okay.
And
well,
you know what, guys?
Next masterpiece.
Fast
next
X.
week we'll make him watch Jeanne Dielman next week.
Fast X, the masterpiece, the one and only movie that tries to be relevant and that tries to say, part 1 of 2.
Yeah.
Sure, why not, right?
I was gonna say, isn't it part 1 of 3? Aren't they doing 2 more to wrap it up?
Right. What?
Yeah, it's part. Yeah, it's gonna be a trilogy of Fast X.
They keep changing up their minds because people keep fucking leaving and then coming back. So I don't know.
Well, I don't know because
as well now.
I don't know because Vin Diesel is currently being sued for for sexually assaulting his assistant.
Yeah, but that's not really how you treat family. But
Oh my, bruh.
Unless you're in Alabama, in that case, it is exactly how you treat family.
Yeah, whatever. This is absolute dog shit. This film. I'll just quickly go first. Yeah, I didn't write down anything really. I think that I remember, but yeah,
it's surely not all dog shit.
Well, it isn't like like a 1 out of 10 for me, but yeah, but it's close. Like is somehow just even worse and more of like a money laundering scheme than Fast 9 and Hobbs and Shaw. Again, funny backstory though, the production for this film, just so Malty knows. This was originally going to be directed by the same guy who directed some of the best and some of the worst in the franchise, Justin Lin, who did the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 9th films. However, he left the project, which I'm sure is because of the fucking ego of everybody in Vin Diesel. The cast and everyone a part of this made me realize that they probably pulled an Adam Sandler and just decided to use this project as a way to go on vacation with each other, because there's nothing coherent with this at all. And they even said they filmed scenes without the director, which was hilarious. But and before they hired a new one who's a hack. But yeah, probably on some island with a list now. Anyway, because of them needing to find a new director though, and then hiring another countless hack to film it, and the names attached. This ended up being one of the most expensive films ever made, because every day production went on, it cost more. It's also hilarious how Dwayne Johnson, after saying he wouldn't return to finish the series or do Hobbs and Shaw 2 after his falling out with Vin Diesel with their ego fucking battles and bringing up Paul Walker and everything, he came back to it because he was desperate to repair his popularity after the fucking failure of Black Adam and him not getting the keys to the DCU, which he tried very hard to get. And now as for the actual film, yeah, it obviously sucks. I mean, I heard people say the visuals in this are great, at least, which I don't get at all. It just feels like a repeat of what I say, about people claiming that about the visuals in Rebel Moon. It's all just like atmospheric things and other stuff instead. It's not, has nothing to do with that. Now I will say there are some good shots with like the light in at points, some of which kind of replicate a similar feel to like the very first Fast and Furious film. Those are very limited though, and I mean very, very limited. Most of the film just looks visually like shit and is filmed like a 4K music video by like some rapper with like no attempts of actually doing anything artistic or meaningful. The acting is obviously shit by everybody. The story's obviously shit. It's all just like them flexing their egos at this point. That's all it is. This film, like, here's the thing: Fast 5 and Fast 6, they found the perfect balance to me of being over the top, silly, embracing its dumbness, and being entertaining, but not going too far with it. Still, and
You mean
actually
like space?
trying. It's like trying with their performances and everything, and that's why I like Fast 5 and Fast 6 the most. And they actually at least try to do like good filming with the action scenes and stuff. With this, again, they went too ridiculous with it. And once again, like, no matter what they do, like, I made that joke like years ago, like they could fucking go to space and it still wouldn't be entertaining, and then they did, and it wasn't entertaining. And that's because, again, as I said before, probably that, from the things I wrote down, just the performances in the scenes are so blunt. Like, the characters aren't doing anything, they're just emotionless. So because of that, what you're watching isn't entertaining because they're not reacting to anything. All right, unless it's John Wick, where it works that way. All right, and then none of the editing or camera work is good. So the scenes itself, despite trying to do crazy shit and with explosions and everything, isn't entertaining to look at visually because it's not done well at all. And then, of course, the shitty music and everything. Like, this is what I mean with people who say like they're good mindless popcorn flicks. Though no, because of all this, they're not. You have to at least do a decent, competent job with that to be a good popcorn flick, right? A good popcorn flick is stuff like Hardcore Henry because it's actually done well. This is not. This is shit. Just total shit. And yeah, and I can't wait to hear what Malty has to say as well, because
he's gonna love it.
Oh yeah, no, because I'm surprised if he doesn't give this shit like a 0. Especially a scene with like the fire around the fucking car.
This is so ugly. That part is so ugly.
So you know what, Cole? It wasn't the worst in the franchise. I gotta say, like this one didn't
Which
go
one was
-5.
then?
To be honest, I
Hobbs
don't
and
know.
Shaw.
No, I'm no like
Hobbs and Shaw was based.
uh, I think it was 7, I believe, or 8. One of these two.
Yeah, well, I know you
I
gave
think
6 like a fucking 2 for whatever reason.
Yeah, but I think it was 7 or 8, the worst, and it's because I gave like 0.5 after giving back points. I think maybe
Did
a
it include
1.
a submarine?
I can't remember, to be honest. I can't. These movies are slowly fading away in my memory for good reason, I think. And that's funny because I'm the
Yeah.
one that suggested the Fast franchise, and I was like, oh, there was like the new one in 2023, so let's cover them all.
Luckily, it's over now, at least until the new ones come out. But
Hell
Only 2
yeah!
more to go.
Cannot
like
wait
you
for.
can tell, this is just them getting their friends together to party while pretending to film this, because they're literally just getting the most like just every like random actor and actress in Hollywood who like then was recently like in some big film, and then they're like, hey, please sign on as like a supporting character in this film. And that's what they did with like 9 and X, and it's just so desperate.
But hey, there's Jason Momoa playing Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
No, he's not. No, he's not playing Jason Momoa. He's playing drunk Jason Momoa, which is much worse.
Okay, so now that I've kind of already spoke, let's tear it apart. First issue, not funny. Guy is punching the other one that is eating while grandma talks. I can't remember what it refers to, but it sucks. The guy screaming now tried to be funny, but it wasn't. Cannot aim. Not funny dating joke. Cringe eye rolling family dialogue. So now super strength is a thing. I mean, John Cena was strong enough to throw a guy through a floor and the ceiling.
I mean, you forget about the scene where Vin Diesel lifts a car fully with just one arm.
Wait. John Cena scene with the kid in the car affected pacing.
Wait. What do you mean by that? I just saw the kid in the car.
John Cena
Well,
with the kid.
it's a romance.
Then
taking him to Epstein Island.
Then sing contest was filler, affecting pacing. Not funny scene where Jason is making his nails. Look, I get the attempt. It had charm, I guess, but that was more like Jason Momoa charm than like
You
Brighton
thought that
charm.
was a charming scene?
But it was still shit, bro. It's my issue right now, bro. I tried to defend it, okay? Not funny scene in the shop. The fight in the shop didn't make any sense. Not funny breaking glass while getting all messed up. Cringe eye rolling family dialogue. So that's the second time I mentioned that, by the way. Dumb lifting a car barehanded didn't make sense. I didn't feel anything when Jacob died because nobody really dies in Fast and Furious. They want me to suspend disbelief way too much when they made a kid jump from a car to another car as both of the cars.
He's not a kid,
all
he's a Toretto.
Yeah, he's not just any kid. He knows how to drift.
No tension after the plane blew up because nobody dies in Fast and Furious. Plot armor on Dom and the kids since they ran a explosion with their car as they were free falling from the dam. Just gravity should make it impossible to control. Movie feels incomplete since it ends on a cliffhanger and it feels unresolved. And this is funny because we had a similar case with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and again, I will stand by most of the movie was solved, and like part 2 is mainly like let's stop that big guy. But I feel
really
like
Dead Reckoning.
I liked it, but here I feel like they did what Dead Reckoning did, but worse. because here I'm not satisfied with the ending. While Dead Reckoning, I was still like somewhat satisfied with what they did
Mhm.
and what they planned for like the sequel and stuff. Here I just feel like, oh yeah, let's find excuses and reason to stretch it longer and longer. But again, I will sound like a broken record, but I already mentioned all of my issues. Let's defend the movie just a bit. The action was entertaining, and Jason Momoa was entertaining. I think that's it. No,
Oh.
to be honest, I have more than that. I will also admit Brie Larson character was likable, and it's surprising that they made that actress likable. Good job on that.
Really?
She's a great actress, dude. She's been in so many great movies.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just like
I
it
like.
feels like there's the Captain Marvel umbrella. Like I always see her in that role, But I admit there she was like enjoyable, like very enjoyable.
Really?
Yeah, I like Brie Larson.
I had a different experience with Brie in this. I just thought she was superfluous. Like it could have been anybody, but
It
fair
could
enough.
have been anybody, but
Ah, this I agree.
she was in the MCU, and it was a bit before the Marvels. So yeah, I guess she would. That's why they put her in it.
And I will admit, like the action again, I like it, even if it's stupid and it doesn't make sense. It's like flashy stuff. Um, the guy in the punching bag, I admit, was probably my favorite punchline. Hell yeah, pun intended.
What's a callback too?
The music again, liked it. So that's a guilty pleasure where you're entertained, but it's a goddamn bad movie. And I will pass the mic to Alex now.
All right. Yeah, Fast X. So first of all, I want to talk about the director a little bit because it's a French director, Louis Leterrier, who is not very good. Like he is responsible for such
What?
atrocities as the Incredible Hulk, with Ed Norton, and the Transporter franchise.
Oh, that's the franchise
No,
we gotta cover eventually.
no.
Hell yeah!
Wait,
No,
wait,
let's
wait,
go with the
what
Crank one
franchise?
instead.
Oh, Crank
Crank
as
is
well!
better.
Crank! We do both. Transporter, Crank. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so
shut
yeah.
up.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, so yeah. Louis Leterrier, who so you say yes, so yeah, he directed this. He directed, he directed Now You See Me, Clash of the Titans, The Incredible Hulk, the Transporter movies, and overall, he is not a good director, and his shit never works, really. So and it's funny because when the movie was panned by critics and audiences, Vin Diesel blamed it on Jason Momoa, but it
What?
wasn't Momoa's fault. It was
What
yeah,
the-
it wasn't Momoa's fault. It was full on
Vin
Leterrier's
Diesel
fault.
just loves making enemies with his friends. Wow.
He loves it so much. Family, guys, family.
It's all about
That
family.
being said, about the movie itself, I did enjoy the first 40 minutes or so because it's just one long action sequence that just doesn't stop, which was kind of fun. And like come on, the big bomb that's just rolling down, about to blow
Yeah,
up the
Rocket
Vatican.
League.
Yeah, exactly. It's about to blow up the Vatican. At some point, it's on fire, but then it goes through a fountain, so it's not on fire anymore. It's dumb as shit, but it was 40 minutes of that, and it was entertaining. Even though you have the first 20 minutes of the movie, they are just they just took the climax of Fast Five, put Jason Momoa in it, and let it roll for 20 minutes, which is not how you start a movie. That being said, I at first I really liked Momoa's take on that insane man at first, but then the more the movie progresses, I realized that he was extremely one note, and his only emotion in the movie is, "Haha, it's funny. I don't take this seriously. I am," and like that's the one thing that he does. He's very much one note, and the more the movie went on, the more I was expecting him to at some point like get angry, loses cool, and like at least during the climax of the movie where they would have thought, well, actually showed who he truly was instead of that facade of just him being I'm having fun being evil. But they never did. He just always stayed extremely one note, which annoyed the shit out of me the more it went on. So yeah, and the movie itself is nothing new, and it's exactly what we've seen before, but worse, because at least the previous movies they had this thing where, oh, we're gonna go crazier and crazier with the stunts and the set pieces, the more the movies go on, but not this one. This one they went a step back.
Well,
I
they
mean, I guess
jumped from a dam, bro, and like they threw a kid from cars to cars. We gotta
yeah. How does that beat go? How does that beat going to space in a Fiat?
If you place it that way, I agree with you. You're right.
Yeah. So
Gonna beat space.
it's very much a step backward in terms of the craziness of the action. But there's something that I did appreciate, which is for once, there is no goddamn MacGuffin. They're always like chasing after something, whether it be the God's Eye or a virus or whatever. But this time, there is none. It's just a revenge story where they just just Momoa who wants to get revenge on Toretto, and I thought that was weirdly refreshing, even though it wasn't good. And that's another issue I had with the thing, because he keeps saying that he doesn't want to just kill Dom. He wants to make him suffer. And at the end, he's like, okay, you've suffered enough, now time to die. And I was like, what suffering? You did nothing. You didn't make him suffer. Like, to make him
there was
suffer.
a crash off screen of all of his friends.
But it didn't
But
die.
we all know they will survive.
Yeah. Like, actually, I wanted to see him actually kill people, make him suffer. Maybe, like, his brother died, but that was a self-sacrifice.
In theory, all of his family died. I mean, I guess his abuela, whatever, is still there. But other than that, his whole family died. Jacob. I guess Jordana wasn't there, but
it is shot in the same exact way as all of the rest, so you don't get any feelings that he's suffering. They just kind of go off and fall and die and will die.
Well,
they'll
he
be
made the
back
mistake of not taking away his car, so he could only suffer so much.
Yeah, but
break his car, you break him, bro. Like,
yeah, there you go. That's
the best
way.
way.
So I didn't see any suffering, and we all know that they're all going to be back in the sequel or when the other sequel anyway at some point. Yeah, for me there was no real stakes because of that. Like the one part where there's sort of a stake is when he kidnaps the kid, but even then, it is resolved so fast.
Well, do you think Jacob is actually gone, or are they just gonna magically bring Cena back next time?
Of course he's not. If fucking Giselle could survive a plane crash, I'm pretty sure that he can survive a car crash.
They brought back Gal Gadot is just hilarious, but I hope he's dead for good, because that made me happy.
Well, you don't understand. It makes sense because she's former Mossad, though, so she's good.
Jesus fuck. But yeah, if only it would happen in real life with him, that would be even better.
We'll have like a flashback of some sort where we see all of them like jumping out of the flaming car like at the last second, and like have no scars or anything, even though they were burnt.
Don't forget they break glass in that universe, and nobody gets a single cut.
No one gets that gets cut ever. So, and I do think that So what makes these movies entertaining when they are entertaining is when the family is doing shit together. And for most of this one, they are all separated. And I feel like it just really did not work. It's way more fun when they are, preparing and doing a mission together as that stupid ass family that they created for themselves.
It's getting tougher to find people that'll work with Vin Diesel, though. Like, he's got to kind of be on his own side mission for most of it.
Everyone hates him now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. Even the kid was an interesting addition to me Not because he was great or anything, but is because he was the audience surrogate. Like whenever John Cena is like, hey, we're gonna go in this plane, or hey, we're gonna explode that car, he's always like, whoa, this is so cool. And he's a little bit there to be the audience's surrogate. So, I feel that was a little something that was kind of interesting, but they did nothing with it. So it wasn't good.
Yeah.
I do like that they added Alan Richardson to the cast. He's an actor that I really appreciate. So he's the guy, who replaced Mr. Nobody. The blonde, muscly guy.
Reacher.
Yeah. Well, he's an actor that I really appreciate. I'm happy that they brought him on board, and now he's lobbying to be Batman in James Gunn's DCU, and I think that could work. He's proven to be a good actor before, and he's funny too. If you have seen the show or Blue Mountain State, you'll know that he's very funny. And I do like some of the dialogue that he has. Most of it is bad, but he does have some good lines. Like when he shits on the family and calls it a cult with cars.
I don't know, man. He doesn't
That's
like
like-
barbecue. That's unforgivable.
Yeah, he
Oh,
doesn't
I
like
agree.
barbecue.
You make
And
good
by the
point.
way, even though this movie doesn't have the traditional barbecue at the end, they have it at the beginning. So then they found a way to include that barbecue.
Yeah, well, I just love how in a lot of these films, it's like people will just be like trying to kill each other, and then at the end they'll still flip burgers with each other. Fantastic! What a great franchise, cinema.
Yeah.
It's about forgiveness. You just don't get it.
And I do like John Cena a lot as an actor. I think he's very funny, which is
God.
I think he's very funny, and not in this, but in most of the shit where they'll let him be funny. I think he works like as Peacemaker. He's great, but that's mostly because James Gunn is a good screenwriter and a good director.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I
I-
have to disagree with that hard.
Yeah.
I think he works in Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad because he wrote the character to fit him and his limitations
Yeah.
perfectly, and because he was being directed by an amazing director and around an amazing cast. Everything else,
That's fair.
as an actor, has been shit, and there are points though in other films where he is kind of funny to watch, but that's more laughing at him, not with him, because he's still garbage in it. But I just like laughing at that stupid motherfucker because he's shit. But he's a better actor.
Well, can I
than,
ask-
he's a better actor than a wrestler, but that's not saying much.
Do any of you see this as the same character from 9? Like, is this the same John Cena? I don't know. Now he's like laughing, goofy, jovial,
Yeah.
where he was all business last time.
Yeah.
His character growth. No.
I
you're
guess.
right. You're damn right.
But no, I do think he has the ability to be funny. Like, for example, I know he's barely in it, but he made me laugh in Barbie and in Vacation Friends. But again, that's for me. No one has to agree with me on this, but I think he can be very funny in the comedies and the comedic roles that he plays.
Sorry, I didn't back you. I agree. I liked me some Cena.
Yeah. Thank you. Like also in the movie Blockers, which is an okay comedy, I think he is the standout.
Yeah, once again,
So-
I agree with you with those films, but I'm more laughing at him for being an idiot instead of actually acting well in a comedic role.
I mean, yeah, he's not a good actor, but he's good at comedy, and that's more his strength. And I feel like they at least tried to use it in this one. And also, I have to do a little bit of a shout out to Pete Davidson, who has this weird ass scene where he played like
Bowie 420?
yeah, there you go, Bowie 420. So yeah, so shout out to Pete Davidson for that one weird scene that he has. But yeah, even though I do have, I like some of it. Again, I like that ridiculous 30-minute car chase at the beginning, and I like John Cena. I like Jason Momoa at the beginning. Most of it bored me to tears. Like I was out of it by the end of the movie. especially the dialogue scenes are all so bland and so boring and don't have any personality at all. And God, does Vin Diesel take himself seriously in a franchise that no one else takes seriously.
He knows that's his only gig, and he knows that it's his last gig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, at
That's
this
why
point, I
they
feel
do like 12 of them.
Yeah, I feel like at this point it's harder and harder for him to make us forget that he's in his 50s and that he won't be able to do this
Yeah.
forever.
When he's in his 60s, he's gonna go down the Steven Seagal route, just do straight to DVD stuff.
Oh, clearly. But yeah, so that's going to be it. That's my take on Fast X. I'm very much glad that we are done with this franchise, even though we only watched
For now.
We cannot wait for part 2 of Fast X. Hell yeah.
I can wait as long as they want. I don't care. I'll wait.
Great. You are next.
So I feel like you guys are being really hard on Vin Diesel. He brings up a few things that few people really think about in the correct context. During a red carpet interview with Variety, Diesel was asked how working on the Fast and the Furious has gotten more difficult over the past 2 decades, and he responded that, what gets harder? The work off screen, the thinking, the expanding. There's a reason why Tolkien stopped writing after a while. It's so hard to continue mythologies. No one thinks about that in context, but it's real.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Was he on acid?
Probably.
You're smoking some good stuff.
He has compared the Fast and Furious franchise to, the Lord of the Rings franchise. They're both mythologies.
Yeah, they're both on the same level, aren't they? Yeah.
Hell
yeah, no, they're the same. Yeah,
stop lying.
Kind of went on.
It's insulting Fast. Fast is actually better than Lord.
But there's so many weird things that they did with this one. So, yeah, it's really weird. They used that Paul Walker theme again for no reason. Just like brought that back in, that like "See You Again" or whatever song. Like that seemed like weirdly disrespectful for no reason. Like they just kind of brought that back up again. I think it was like at the barbecue or something. I don't know. That kind of took me out of it. And then all of a sudden, young Brian is like, 12 years old and driving a car now? So that was kind of weird. Like, I get it. He would probably teach him to drive young. But can you just do that at like whatever stadium they were at in the parking lot? Like, I don't know. I have a feeling he would have been busted if he's doing that many donuts.
I'm sure some TikTokers are doing that,
Maybe. But then speaking of this kid, he happened to kill like 6 guys with the fucking whatever you call that gun truck, the cannon car or whatever that John Cena magically makes. And then it jams and he has to, fix it again. But I don't know. Nothing's brought up that this 10-year-old is just like killing dudes. I don't know. It seems a little strange. Yeah, just so many parts of this don't. I don't know. And then, yeah, just like John Cena gets killed right in front of him. Oh well, the only way that he could have stopped that, like he couldn't just make somebody else flip. He just has to flip his car to explode in front of everybody. So yeah, I'm sure they're gonna write their way out of that, but I don't know. I'm just half wondering if he really is dead, even though he seemed to be playing a different character this entire movie than last movie. Just now, all of a sudden, he's joking. He's my little brother,
The Tom Cruise disguise, the mask. It actually wasn't him. It was actually chilling the whole time.
It might be. I don't know. Just so many things about this are weird, and then it's like, okay, so Paul Walker's not there, but his wife, the sister, is magically there, and okay, so we're assuming that Brian and their child are just chilling in their minivan somewhere. I don't know. So many parts of this are so weird. Like, why do they bring back certain characters? I don't know. There's essentially no stakes in this. Like, there was a kind of throwaway line that made it seem like Mr. Nobody did survive, so he also might be coming back. Like, literally nobody's dead except for, maybe John Cena? I
He'll
don't know.
come back. Not
He's
say
not.
maybe.
He's not
It
dead.
seems like there's like no real stakes. Like the only person that died is apparently Jason Momoa's father, but maybe that's all a
just
trick
the one
too.
guy from the third film because everybody hates it, so they didn't care about him. But everybody else are gonna bring back because they need them all like on like a hill with the sunset, as the last shot in the 12th film.
Yeah, family. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't like this film. I don't think that they needed Alan. So I like Alan Richardson a lot, or Richson. I don't know why I want to keep adding an "ard" in there. Alan Richardson. So I don't know that they needed to like have him seem like he was on the bad side, and then all of a sudden he's a good guy, and then they did the flip again where he's now a bad guy. I think that could have been like a cool movie on its own. I don't know if they're just trying to up the stakes, so then they need the whole Momoa plot line plus that. Like, I don't know. It feels like a bit much. And then you throw in like Brie Larson and like the kid, and I don't know. Now you've got John Cena from the last film. It just feels like there's so many like threads that don't need to be there. And then all of a sudden Gal Gadot just shows up in a submarine, possibly the same submarine they had before. I don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna nuke Jason Momoa next.
Hell yeah!
Just. It all seems so superfluous. Like this doesn't need to be. So I don't know. I'm not the person for this, but yeah, this jumped the shark long ago. It is weird that they go back to 5, where a lot of people did like it. There was a bit of realism, I suppose, with this safe driving down the street, and now we've just got whatever the hell this was. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're not in space this time, but I think every fake out death is just you don't believe that it's actually a death. I don't know. I don't think this should be. I think he should have taken his own advice and stopped writing at some point.
I agree. I cannot say more than this, bro. Do you want to add more?
Nah, I think that's about it. Everything else has been covered by everybody else, but I don't like the addition of Momoa. I don't think Brie Larson adds much to this. I think that literally could have been anybody being like, well, I'm the daughter of them. It makes sense that they bring in Brie Larson.
She's just there for a paycheck, just like everybody else.
Yeah. So it makes sense. I don't know. You're just adding more and more characters to this thing that has too many characters already. So I don't know. I just end up caring about everybody even less.
Can't wait for Charlize Theron to officially be in the family in the next one.
It's a 20 out of 20 movie for me. Like masterpiece, masterclass. No, for real. I will give this movie a generous 2 out of 10. What about you, Alex?
For me, even though I did have some fun, it's mostly terrible and poorly made. So it is going to be a 3 out of 10.
What about you, Cole?
I'll give this a 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah!
Yeah,
Perfect.
I'm not
minus
crazy.
8. So 2.
Minus 8. Wow, that is a tough one, man. Cold, as one might say.
Yeah, 2 out of 10. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm being nice then. I guess I'd go 3.5. It's sort of entertaining. Parts of it I kind of enjoyed. I've wondered what it would be like to, see, the car soccer played in real life. I now feel like I kind of know what that would be like. But yeah, it's not a good movie. The most I could give it is 3.5.
Okay. So I guess the next topic is Elemental. So who wants to go first on Elemental?
I'll do it.
Okay. Go right
Go
ahead.
for
then.
it.
Yeah, this is the biggest
all right.
film.
Yeah, Pixar has been kind of bland in the recent past,
You don't say.
And of course, like as far as the positives go, of course, the animation is drop dead gorgeous because that's what they do, and they have all the resources in the world, so of course they're gonna have gorgeous animation. But this is a very weird movie for me because they created this extremely strange world. Because the movie is all about, how it's dumb to be racist. That's basically but it's basically the point, how everybody should be together all the time, and which is where the main relationship between the two characters come in. Like I think it's Waterboy and Fire Girl, whatever their names are. But but even though they're not the same, they should still be able to be together, and we should all love each other. Sure. But here's the thing: if I touch a black person, I'm not gonna start bursting on fire. Like in this movie, their differences are actually physically dangerous for them. They will die. So
I just thought of a joke from that, but I'm not gonna say.
That's dark.
But so the message is very honorable, but the way they do it is so stupid. Like, if I'm a fire person and I want to become friends with a tree made out of wood, the tree will die. It will burn. It will burn. So yeah, it is a very, very stupid way of doing this, in my opinion.
I agree. The movie got worse because, to be honest, I was kind of turned off a bit by the movie. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, also the fact that most of the plot is written around the administrative legislature around building a dam. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm a kid. I love administration and engineering. That's my shit when I'm 12 and when I'm 7. It kind of makes sense that they sort of did it to do that, just for some of the scenes, especially when I think it's the fire girl who's like, no, I know how to fix this, and then she kind of does it in her own way to show oh, see, everybody's useful, and it's cute, and we're all happy, and we'll all hug each other. And again, a cute message and an acceptance message is really not something I have a problem with. I think it's a great thing for kids, but do it in a way that makes sense. Do it in a way that will not be nitpicked to death just because of its very concept. In terms of comedy, it's fine. It's all just fine. It is passable, but it doesn't do anything to stand above the rest of great animated films that we had this year. Like Spider-Verse or the Ninja Turtles animated one.
Nimona was great.
This is the best Pixar.
Nimona's incredible.
Yeah, I think Nimona was my favorite animation this year. I think.
Oh, Nimona is incredible. Yes, I agree. It made me cry so much.
And that would be the most political movie in the bunch. That's the.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Elemental. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just very much in the middle. Very much in the middle. It's a medium film, but it does have an insane crime that it commits, which is they have brilliant comedian Joe Pera doing a voice, and he only has one line, and that is a crime against comedy. And there you go. That is my review for Elemental.
I guess I will follow up on that. I will
go ahead, please.
I will sound like a broken record because I got an issue that keeps coming back and again and again and again. Number one, the attempt at being funny with a role didn't land. A role, the role sketch was overdid, and it wasn't funny. Next up would be not funny exchange between fire and water. I can't remember what I referred to, but that was probably early in the movie. More bad jokes about fire. Not funny. Water guy wasn't funny the way they wanted. Um, so I guess that's my issues. I gotta admit, um, we had endearing father and daughter moments throughout the movie. The main character is very likable, even if her name is kind of forgettable. She's more of an idea, I think. That was the point. Um, and she gets interesting stuff going on for her. She's not perfect. She basically bursts on fire because of her anger, and she's out of control and she breaks stuff. So yeah, that's like interesting, and I like the idea of like I don't want to follow my father's footstep. That's something a lot of kids want, and when they grow up, they also follow that line where they don't want to be like their
Mhm.
parents. So this is really good and relatable, that aspect. Um, the music, I liked it, and yeah, it's not a boring movie. It's flashy and it's entertaining. I don't have much more to say. I will let Cole go next.
1 sec, connection issues.
All right.
Oh,
Well, he's getting that
alright.
back together. I guess saying to go. I don't have a ton to say. I disagree with you, Multi. I think this might be a you problem where you're saying that like these characters aren't memorable. Come on, her name is Ember. Ember, like fire, and then he's Wade. You know, like you wade
Yeah.
out into the water. Come on, man. They're memorable characters to me. I think some of the jokes hit. I really liked a lot of the comedy that Wade brought to it. I don't know, like the whole, trying to make the other person cry thing. I thought that was great. The whole, a butterfly, half a butterfly. Like, I don't know, that whole thing. I found that to be comical. And then the coming back to that, I thought Catherine O'Hara as the mother, Wade's mother, was hilarious. I don't know. This isn't a great movie. It does seem like Pixar used to have a certain prestige to it. And I don't know if it got killed during the pandemic or if I'm just looking pre-pandemic, like with rosy
Well,
colored
this
glasses
is
or
the same
whatever.
director who made The Good Dinosaur, so
Yeah, and I'm not sure because it just seems like they used to have films that kind of meant something more that kind of hit a little bit harder than this. I don't
yeah,
know if I'm just
they made
numbed to.
meaningful films. Yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
right.
they
They
used
made
to.
meaningful
Yeah,
films, artistic.
and
All right, then around after Wally was made, they decided to just make a bunch of sequels or films to sell merchandise. All right, and that's what we got now.
yeah. And it seems like again, kind of like Fast X, like the stakes aren't there. Like it seems like in a lot of these, you do have some tragic backstory or something. You do have somebody that kind of dies.
Family,
In
though.
this, I guess you get yeah, that's true. There was family. I guess you do get like a grandmother that possibly died, that possibly made a wish to see the granddaughter. I don't know. But yeah, like you don't really get that like stakes that a lot of them have, and a lot of that comes from somebody does have like a tragic backstory. Maybe it's just that these characters don't. They just seem like they're in their own worlds. But I don't know. Did this come up with like new slurs essentially? Like the whole I can't remember. Like was it like cloud heads or something like that? Like it feels like they had weird names for each other. Like I don't know. Are they normalizing weird things like that? I don't know. For me, this film just kind of it hit on the wrong levels. It just seems mediocre. It doesn't feel like it's up to Pixar's quality to me. So I don't know. It's definitely on my lower end of Pixar's films.
Yeah. I guess cool.
Right, yeah, okay. Yeah. Despite how mediocre this film is, this is sadly the best Pixar and I believe even Disney animated film of the year because the rest are that trash. Also, but it is the best Pixar film ever made that had a voice actor who was also in Fred 3 Camp Fred. So accomplishments. Okay. Yeah, so here's I know you brought up the animation at least being, amazing. Honestly, these days I don't even think they're like that amazing. It's like sure they have the money and high tech things, but a lot of the thought and detail put into a lot of their animation, it's like they're not really top on that level anymore. To me, with at least the majority of their films, there is the odd one that is, but for the most part, yeah, there's a lot of studios that have like that are on their level now, just with different art styles, or you have even surpassed them. And that's that's what I find funny. With people always making that excuse for like the Pixar films, yeah, but the animation, it's like fuck off. And yeah, and also funny thing, they tried making fake advertising things for this film where those like theater reaction where somebody will be like recording on their phone at the screen, and then the audience will like go whoa to something. It's someone who shows up. Yeah, they tried doing that, and it was fucking laughable, and it was so clearly fake. It was hilarious, but yeah, there's some funny backstory there, but yeah, this is just mediocrity at its finest. I guess animation's fine, characters are fine, story's fine. I mean,
What
I
was
thought they
up
were
with
gonna
the pruning scene?
Jesus. Yeah, I don't know.
What was the pruning scene? I don't remember that scene.
Yeah, I really don't either.
There were two fruit trees picking apples off of each other, and when they were in the hot air balloon, they happened to spot them through a window. It seems weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. That's well. I thought they were gonna do something with like because you brought up like that whole plot issue thing, Alex. Like how that's the difference. If I were to read my joke in the private chat.
Yeah, I did. It's
but like I thought they were gonna do something with it though to counter it, like like it doesn't actually hurt them, like it's just like they were always told that, and nobody had ever tried to even just like shake hands or anything though, but just other stuff happen, and it's all just like a gimmick, like it doesn't actually do anything bad, but and some other things, but
which is a great message for kids. Hey, it's fine if you set fire to your wooden table. Nothing's gonna happen. They're friends.
Yep. God, reminded me of some fucking skits there. God,
you can't delete your friend because you're friends.
God, the fire in your house, right? You just need to like not give it attention. It'll go away. Face the other way and just wait till it goes away.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this the music's whatever. Yeah, the writing's whatever. This is just completely generic and mediocre from start to finish. There's really nothing that I actually liked. Like, I'm just surprised it wasn't as bad as it, like the trailers looked and everything. That's really it, especially because the director fucking did The Good Dinosaur, which was just terrible. But yeah, it's just whatever. It's half decent film. Yeah, that's all. I really don't have much to say.
I may add something else. It's very forgettable. It's very forgettable. Like,
yeah,
Gray needed to bring something back for me to remember. So yeah, it's.
But that's a you problem.
I'm not the only one that kind of forgot that thing happened.
No, I forgot this whole fucking film. This was pathetic, and yeah, Pixar are fucking hacks. All right, all they do is make the same films with the same exact format nowadays, and sometimes it works. Like I think Soul worked decently, and same with Coco, but sorry, is that the name of it? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Coco.
Yeah, but for the most part, whatever. It's just the same things, and they need to make sure that they make like the most sappy, melodramatic music possible to force tears out of audiences' eyes because they can't get it naturally. Like people get emotional during those scenes, right? It's not because the scenes or movie did anything to actually make you cry. Stuff like Charlie Kaufman films do. This just It's just because of that sad music they play, and then audience members go, oh my god, it's so sad. I'm just like, yeah, that's all the film is. That's all the Pixar films are. They're just what's the word for it again? Emotionally manipulative, fucking forgettable films now.
That's all we do, Cole. You just don't get it.
Yeah, and I picked this film for the week because nothing else was coming out digitally in time, so I was just like, well, I guess we'll watch this, and because it might get nominated for an Oscar, but if this doesn't even get nominated for an Oscar now, then fucking hell, we watch this for nothing. But also because then Wish will probably get nominated, and we have to watch that garbage again, which was like an AI.
It's coming out. It's coming out online this month. I'm so hyped.
Yeah, I saw it. For free anyway. It's literally like an AI made the entire film. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so
I only heard bad stuff about it.
Yeah, it's like they realized the 100th anniversary was coming up and they weren't making anything yet, so they're just like, okay, quickly get the AIs running.
So I guess that's the right moment to share our score for this masterpiece. I will start by saying I give this movie a juicy 6.5 out of 10. What about you, Alex?
For me, it is a 5, the perfect midpoint between 0 and 10, because that's what this movie is. It is middle of the road and nothing more, nothing less.
What about you, Cole?
Yeah, you see, I thought that too when I first watched it, and I was about to give it a 5, but something that's just this aggressively uninspired, though, doesn't even deserve a passing rate, and if just from start to finish, it's just meh. So I'm giving it a 4.5.
And what about you, Gray?
Yeah, I guess I'm the asshole again. So yeah, I think it was a little bit more positive than negative for me. So I don't know. I'd give it a 6. It's
okay.
A little above mid to me, but apparently, I'm different.
So I guess we will talk about the most political movie we had this year, I believe, in 2023. Maybe Oppenheimer would be a close second.
Yeah, no, trust me, there's far more.
There's way more
political
political
ones.
movies, dude.
Yeah. Or have you seen
I'm glad I
My
haven't
Son
seen
Hunter?
them. No, but it sounds bad.
Oh yeah, we did a review of it on Joker Stain. He made a whole edit of it.
That
Some
sounds
actor,
terrible.
yes, basically some actor Robert Davi who's in some films. Yeah, I don't know. He just like went crazy and made some shitty like film with so Gina Carano was in it, and it was just like a film like exposing Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and the Russian way.
That sounds godly awful. Why did you
funniest
put
shit.
yourself
Oh,
into that torture,
because it
bro?
was free on YouTube and it looked like the funniest shit ever. Oh Lord!
Let's
Or
watch
you
The Sound
can-
of Freedom next.
It's
Oh yeah, that was also pretty bad. But
I heard bad stuff about that one as well.
yeah, and it was horrendous and made like by a fucking moron. It was the funniest shit ever. But also, what's even funnier though, actually, I'm gonna screen share this to you guys. After we watched, after we watched this, I just made this like fucking joke tweet. So here, yeah. So then I was like, okay, whatever. That's
My
That's the
son
end of it.
Hunter.
yeah. I just made
Jesus.
this joke tweet. I was just like, then I went to sleep, woke up. He responded, and he thought I was serious. I was being
No way.
sarcastic. Yes, but then afterwards, the
No.
guy found a review, watched it, and then he went on a fucking tirade online and started like insulting all of us, and he blocked Rosales and Max and everyone.
Wow. This is how we tackle critique. This is how we handle critique. This is how we handle people trying to tear apart our work. The way to do it, guys. Brah. I guess the creator is a very exciting movie to talk about, and this time around, Gray will start. Gray?
Gray. I guess he's not here.
Maybe he's like trying to speak, but he didn't realize he's
Yeah,
mute.
maybe the birds.
Sorry, I had a dog issue. It was dogs this time, not birds. My bad. So the creator is interesting. I really like sci-fi, so maybe I'm kind of predetermined to like it. Maybe I am biased towards it. I liked that it was like this new world that they're trying to create, and then it's a complete alternate history where these AIs are alongside of us. And then I really did like kind of how they were trying to go about the AI that most of them are what appears to be like people with like a green screen mask on or something, so they could just take their head out, put on like a drone head or whatever. I don't know. I liked certain aspects of it, but they missed on so many different levels. Like I don't know. I get that they're trying to go for a message and everything, but it's like, I don't know. There's so many, I guess, plot holes, you'd say, in this whole thing. Like, okay, so first off, the AI is supposed to be so much more advanced than the average person or whatever, but they can do nothing against the humans. They have no combat for this giant thing in the sky. I don't know. It seems really strange to me that they would be, so advanced in certain ways, but so far behind militarily. I would just have to think that they would be a formidable adversary to the humans, that they wouldn't just stomp them in such a way. And then it kind of keeps going on. I guess let me say a couple more of the positives. I do like John David Washington. I've liked him in a few of his past roles. I think I first saw him in like Ballers with The Rock back in the day, his like weird kind of drama about the NFL. So I don't know. I like this actor in his previous roles. Like, it doesn't really go into his character's missing limbs or whatever, and his assisted, like whatever you want to call that, transhumanism. Like his, I guess he would be a cyborg, sort of. He's robotically assisted, but he's not an AI. There is a huge distinction between the two. That seems kind of weird and a little bit like, I don't know. He still seems like an enhanced human in some way. Are most humans enhanced in some way? I don't know. There's like aspects of this world that they don't really want to flesh out. Some aspects of the world seem really well thought out, well lived in. Like, there is some world building going on here, and it's not horrible. It doesn't feel like it's just exposition dumps like Rebel Moon, but still, there's something completely missing in this. Like, why would they go up? First, they steal a shuttle or whatever, and then his thing is, okay, I need to take this down by being on one of the missiles that they're shooting down at the ground. I don't know. Like, it would have to seem like there's another way to sabotage that would also get the missiles to go off and take it all down. From there, it's like, okay, so they have the mother on a chip. Why the hell did she waste the time to get her mother and like boot her up, where you would actually have, a version of her that you could put into any sim, and you would literally have her back if you just did that. But no, they decide to waste it so that in this cornfield in the sky, the mother and father can kind of have a reunion. I don't know. There's parts of it that seem so contrived to me that just, it doesn't seem like it needs to be there. She can control any machine or anything like that, except for this Doc Ock weird claw machine that's coming after her when she's at the escape pod. And there's only one escape pod for this entire, ship. I don't know. Like, there's parts of it that really don't seem to make sense to me. There's parts of it that are really good. I do like the world. I like the world that they're building, but it's not our world. It is definitely one that it looks like since like the 50s, maybe they had AI, and it kind of went on from there, and then it created this weird society. I think other movies have kind of done that better. I think there's been many times where they've kind of done some sort of I guess version of this same type of story. I don't think this is the best version that I've seen. It has some really cool things going on with it, but I think there's a lot of misses for me. That being said, I did like the music in it. I think the actual cinematography is pretty awesome. There are some shots that are definitely going to stick with me. I like what they did with the CG on all these AIs. Like they seem pretty legit to me. I kind of bought in on that. But there's a lot of areas of plot where it just kind of lets me down. It doesn't feel like it's a well thought out story, and they just kind of, well, we've got to be here now, so we're just going to do this. I don't know. I don't see how he would, magically get all the way to like LAX or whatever to take the plane to go up to the thing. Like, how would he not be busted at some point from the border? Little things like that. But overall, I think it could be a really cool story. I think there were a few misses for me. But those are my overall thoughts.
Perfect. Cole, what did you think of the Creator?
Okay, yeah, I think this was the one where. Okay, yeah, well, I enjoyed it. I will say, I didn't love it, and I was kind of expecting that. I figured it would be pretty solid, but nothing too special. This to me should be at least the bar though for like the bare minimum to expect out of big sci-fi movies instead of the other just absolute crap we've been force fed in recent years. It has many messages, to this that are extremely relevant and probably will continue to be in terms of like AI, but also politically with citizens, other countries, immigrants, and honestly, even with like kind of wars going on right now, you could say whether you agree with its messaging or not fully. A lot of it is kind of like similar to a lot of stuff going on. The rest of the story was fairly average though, and this is a genre and story with AI that we've seen many times in the older, decades that they where it feels like this is just like kind of something they tried bringing back, and it isn't done as well as others in the past. I mean, it's basically what you would expect from start to finish as well. I did like some of the paths they took though with the main character, who I do think gives a solid performance, and I usually like him in films. I never thought he has been ever like amazing in a film yet, but he's always been good. And
he's great in
so,
Black Klansman.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, good, but I don't know if like I would say like exceptional, but yeah, again, maybe later on, I did like other performances in that film more, but yeah, and I would say, and the issues and past, kind of previously gone through. Oh, sorry, sorry, my notes blocked out for a moment there. Okay, sorry about that, but I will say though, the trailer for this made it seem like that to me that the character didn't go through all of that in the beginning at first and was just gonna side with the AI just because one of them happened to be like a fucking child. But add in all that, first to it, and then the other things that made it so shocking, and made sense in the end. So I will say, fix that concern for me. The editing was pretty amateur, and that's one of my biggest issues with it for me. It was pretty poorly done, which is shocking given the three editors' past work, outside of the one dude who worked on like Don't Look Up. But they made some legendary, films that they, edited for at least. And I could see them trying to do similar things with their past work with this, almost like a mix of like the Tree of Life, Blade Runner, Arrival, and 12 Years a Slave, but it just doesn't fully come together as well to me. And I think there were just too many cooks in the kitchen. The score by Hans Zimmer, I would say, is also good, but nothing special. He's definitely a composer, in my opinion, who, I mean, despite his highs and legendary career, needs certain direction, or he'll do some crazy shit, or as if he's drunk, or just make kind of a more forgettable score. Um, Direction and cinematography was fairly good, I guess. Yeah, I did like that. I enjoyed, all of Gareth Edwards' films so far with, Monsters and Godzilla 2014 and Rogue One. Probably like the best of the newer Star Wars and Hollywood Godzilla films. I really think the writers, really let him down on all these projects, so from being greater, and it sort of happened again with this, as the writing and character dialogue really isn't the greatest with who wrote the film. Like, just to show you what he wrote prior to this, it was About a Boy, Ants, Rogue One, which was also the issue with that, The Golden Compass, The Nutty Professor 2, a direct to video Pinocchio animated film that has like a 1 on IMDb, that bad live action Cinderella film, and then a Twilight film. Yeah, great, great, work there. I'll say for that
Great
reason,
resume.
yep, I never loved one of his films yet. Given all that, I think given all of them like a 6 so far. So, but he's still, director. I think we need more of, though, when it comes to like, the concepts and everything. He did a good job with this film overall. To me, just please find him a better writer to work with, so we can see if he can actually make a film better than this, or if he's really kind of an issue too with like directing actors and everything. But and I do believe the cinematographer, though, was one who did that for the Batman, so I figured I should bring that up for Multi since he loves that film. The
I
sound
do love the
design
Batman too.
yeah, sound design was okay, but I wanted a bit more out of it given what the movie's about, and looking at the scenes, I kind of wanted that to be front and center a bit more than it was with, some of the creative things they could have done in action scenes and other scenes that movies such as like Blade Runner and Dune kind of did, and just other sci-fi films like District 9 and everything. The performances outside of the lead, given the circumstances, and the film barely letting him breathe to show emotion as much, were kind of subpar. Not a fan of Gemma Chan at all. Been mediocre in most things I've seen her in, and she isn't someone you can make a leading actress in anything and work out. But she has been solid as a supporting actress given the proper material and role. This was not one of them. And when it comes to plot holes, the director clearly left all the puzzle pieces for them, with why the AI is in this position, despite being more advanced with their intelligence, with how they do things, and with the main character being modified but not AI, which makes you, think about a lot of things like kind of like what Ghost in the Shell kind of covered as well, which we'll also be covering. And apparently, Multi hated it, but well, no, joking. But the writer also yeah, that's the issue though. They left all the puzzle pieces there, the director, but the writer once again was clearly too talentless to realize some of this, to flesh it out properly. So he just kind of left it there for the audience to figure it out themselves. I feel like whatever. I will say this to close it off though. After doing research on the film and reading online threads, I think there's a big reason why the movie, at least to me, had all those weaknesses in all the areas in the acting, tone, certain scenes, predictability, editing, writing, and so on. Like, not to say, some of those areas wouldn't have still been weaknesses without it, but I don't think there would have been as much of ones if not for this. It's because not only did they make this film fraction of the budget than other films in the genre that are usually given, uh, and that usually go to like country to country, and with with the world build and the visual effects, and pretty bold vision, and with big actors. But it's also because apparently their filming strategy was really different, which is why they were able to nail down to that small budget to make it work. They filmed the entire movie in scenes before doing pretty much the majority of like anything else that usually they would at least do some of during filming, to make sure like certain things work in the scenes. They did none of that. Like, they didn't do any visual effects in any scenes during its filming to know if they need to like change anything to make certain scenes work. They just left that all for post production, didn't do anything else, didn't reshoot anything, just so they could get it down to like a fraction of the budget. And I think that I was risky, and I think that's kind of ruined some scenes with like what they were trying to do, that like felt off, and with like the pacing and tone and everything, and like the chemistry of the actors. I think that really ruined it, and then they tried fixing it with like the editing and music and everything else, which is why it feels a little off there, and also why it's kind of fast paced at moments, and wasn't very successful at it. But yeah, I mean, overall, I still think it's solid. But yeah,
Okay. Well, you said Ghost in the Shell. I actually like that one. It's the other two that were really rough around the edges.
yeah. Well, I mean, you could have watched the dub, you know.
Yeah, but I didn't find them. Anyhow, um, the Creator. I like that one a lot. Now, I got a lot of side notes, and again, my side notes did not take away any points. It's just side notes. Number
I love
one,
your side notes.
future too close from hours in terms of dates kind of bothers me. I hate these movies, sci-fi style, where it's like 30 years from now, and it won't be like that, like at all. But again,
I mean, you don't know. You don't know.
I have doubt. I have doubt. Um, yeah. Number two, side note number two, since sci-fi tends to be grounded within their timeline, it's sad they didn't address current world laws that wants to limit artificial intelligence potential and growth. It would make the story more believable. Law also says that
I
a
mean, I can tell
human,
you why. I can tell you why.
they don't
That
know.
was written. No, it's because the movie was written like 7 years ago.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's why Gareth Edwards didn't make shit between since 2016, because he was writing that. He was working
Oh,
on that. So like the old AI thing had not happened yet. So of course he could not comment on it.
okay. Well, that's fine. Again, that was a side note, but thanks for addressing that. That's amazing. So I
Yeah.
guess that takes away that side note. But again, these side notes, they don't take away points. It's just me looking at it and trying to see
Yeah, that's fine.
stuff.
That's fine.
Number three, I did consider two other times where they told instead of showing. I didn't took away points since one of the two could be a lie and the other was well written and acted. So, yeah, I only had one issue with this movie. I admit too much telling instead of showing the robot story that turned itself off after its kids died. This was like a story that was told like uh, by the end or the middle, somewhere in that areas. And I was like, maybe you could have shown it instead of spoon feed us with that. But again, I like the idea. That was a great message because they also paid that one off by the very end of the movie. But again, if you show us instead of just telling us, I would be more on board with that. But again, I liked that movie a lot. The action was great. The military stuff was entertaining. Um, the backlash of the artificial intelligence after the nuke and stuff, that was really cool. It felt like the future war that may happen 100 years from now, but I don't see that 30 years from now. But I can see that kind of scenario happening, like, I don't know, 100 years from now. And
So
stuff.
wait, you're mad at it that it did the show don't tell, or that it didn't? Yeah, show don't. No, it didn't show. Instead, it just told about the mother AI thing shutting itself off when the child died. But you're not going to mention anything about like the actual like inciting event that apparently this whole nuke thing was just human error and calculation. They didn't show that at all. They just said it in one line. Like
Yeah.
that's not going to be the same issue.
No, because you don't really need to see that.
Do we really need to see
Yeah,
a
you do.
mother being so sad that she shuts herself off?
No, that's exactly my issue. Like, I wanted, that was sad when the mother shut herself off. That's my issue. Like, I wanted to
And it's
see
an
that.
issue that it's sad.
No, it's not. No, no, it's an issue that they didn't show us. They just told us.
Mm.
But that was a scene I enjoyed again, but I wished I had seen it instead of just being spoon fed.
I
Oh,
mean, they
the
can't do flashbacks for everything, you know. They cannot do,
yes, they can.
because it's gonna kill the pace of the film.
They can.
Oh, it's gonna turn it into Lost, all right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
how we do
yeah, it's
it.
referred to
That's
into
how
one
we
of
do
the
it.
longest shows of all time.
Dehumanizing the enemy makes sense, and this reflects very well to one of the two Black Mirror episodes we got today, Cole. Dehumanization of the enemy. Um, so yeah, the action again. The guy not listening and just entering in the vault, it felt like someone would really do that, so that's why it was entertaining. The lore was great. um, Many times in the movie I did feel something. I'm looking at my notes. Oh, it says I did tear up when the mother was deleted. That was by the end when they're like they placed her consciousness, or I don't know, in the chip. That was sad, but that was cool at the same time. Um, the separation was heartbreaking. That I can't remember when exactly that happens. The funeral were this I don't know. Oh yeah, the oh I remember why I know that. I thought they were really going to delete the kid, and I thought that was sad. But then the plot twist, they break out and they escape, and um, the ending did
Child
made
murder.
me the ending did made me tear up because they can pay off like the paradise heaven line where, oh, I don't have a soul, but by accepting the robot he can gain a soul. And I like that kind of metaphor, if we can call it that way. um that was amazing. Again, I like this movie so much. It's one of my favorite movie this year. uh I don't know if it would make the cut to top five. Maybe it would. We need to like rethink a bit, but that's one of my favorite movie this year. And I will let Alex talk now.
All right. So stop me if you've heard this one. In a world ravaged by war between two people, one human, the other not, a disabled soldier is sent behind enemy lines to eliminate them once and for all. However, his encounter with an exceptional being from this other people makes him doubt of his actions until he switches sides and ideologies. Does that remind you of anything at all? I just described the plot of Avatar.
You're right. I didn't
Yeah,
connect the dots, but now I see it. Yeah, you're right.
and by extension of the creator. Okay, I
It's a
this
better Avatar, though. It's a much
this
better Avatar.
I disagree, but
Oh, okay.
this is a little bit in bad faith, though. It's a little bit in bad faith because it's not the first time that a movie uses this specific narrative structure. But once I noticed it, I could not help but compare the two films, which are as similar as they are different. But first of all, let's talk about it. Garrett Edwards, who is returning to directing after a 7-year hiatus since Rogue One in 2016. So yeah, this was a return that was very anticipated by cinephiles and fans of large-scale sci-fi. And as much as it is similar to Avatar, the film does have something else, shares something else with James Cameron's movie. Edward's passion and absolute love for the universe that he created. Yeah, so the film has so many details with its settings, its characters, and it makes that world feel much richer, much more vibrant, and much more lived in and credible than the basic plot might suggest. And all of this is enhanced by these incredible visual effects. Um, so yeah, that's my main positive for the movie, that it is the world feels very real in every single one of its aspects, which makes it way easier to get into and to engage in the story. That's where the similarities between it with Avatar pretty much end. Because even though James Cameron's film is about ecology and ideological wars, this one is about religious wars, religious and ideological wars, which is very relevant in 2020, 2023, and 2024. So yeah, we have the world of humans against the world of robots, with the creator of the title being the human whom how do I say this? Give me a second. Yeah, so the creator being the human. Wait, because I'm reading from my notes and I think I misphrased something. Yeah. So the creator of the title is the human that whom's creation AI will try to kill him, to destroy them, to save its own existence. So basically, it's a war against God in the sense, the idea of this movie. So yeah, which is a very intense subject matter. So yeah, it's a conflict that is both military and philosophical, which is very well represented by the character of Alfie, the little android girl, created from a human embryo. So it's a very interesting thing. So you have this character, this girl who is created from a human embryo, but who is mostly robotic. And so both camps will try to get her to side with them, which will determine the issue of the war. So I think it's a very interesting thing, and it is a movie with its story that is very well acted, especially by John David Washington and the kid, Madeline Yuna Yoles. She was 9 years old when she shot this, when she played Alfie, and it's her first ever performance in anything, and it is very good. She is the heart of the movie, and yeah, she will be the emotional anchor for the spectator for the whole thing. That being said, though, I don't think her acting is enough to save the film from its very, very flat characters who are not developed at all. And I think that's the main problem that all of Gareth Edwards' films suffer from. It was the same thing in Rogue One. It was the same thing in Godzilla. I haven't seen Monsters, but from what I get, is also that problem. He doesn't know how to make characters developed and relevant and interesting, which make those movies very hard to follow and very, very hard to engage in. But the movie does have some extremely interesting visuals. Like, it draws comparisons to a lot of real events, real wars that happened, especially that scene where there's the robots that are going to explode on the bridge, and Alfie goes in the middle of the bridge and try to stop them. This is a direct callback to this photo that I brought up on my phone here of the tank man who tried to stop the tanks in Tiananmen Square. It's a direct callback to that, which I think is brilliant, and a lot of the imagery from the movie.
Yeah, I love that scene.
Yeah, a lot of the imagery from the movie does call back to real events, real wars. And as far as politics go, in this one you can take the robots, the AI, and you can pretty much identify them with any minority or persecuted groups in society now. So for me, because of the way that because of the transhumanism, for me, I associated them with trans people during the time I saw the movie. But yeah, you can do it pretty much with any minority or marginalized group. They will be representative of those robots. And the way that we take them and we just use them as a patsy, as an excuse for every bad thing that we do as a society. You know, they're an excuse. You know, like yeah, you know, like it's just an excuse to you know have hate and war and all that. But yeah, and you know, the motto in the Creator, the key word is progress. So the movie's constantly moving. You know, it's transitioning from one action scene to another, and it doesn't give characters and viewers any chance to breathe. And so, and any opportunity to create and develop genuine connections and relationships between characters are almost immediately interrupted for yet another action scene. So it's very difficult to connect with and care about the characters, which prevents us, well, me at least, from giving a shit about their fate and what happens. So yeah, even though I do think that the movie has some really interesting themes, again, like the war against God and, you know, ideologies and all of that, I think that in the end, even though it's got stunning visuals, an incredibly fascinating world, and very, very well made action sequences, if you need a movie that tries to be a bit more daring and a bit more profound with its themes, you will need to look somewhere else, because that is not what the Creator is going for at all, which I think is a bit sad, because sci-fi as a genre is very important. I think it is the most important film genre we have today, because that's how you can talk about issues that we are facing right now and extrapolate them into the future.
I mean, if they had a bigger budget to make this an hour longer, where they developed those more, then could have been amazing.
Yeah, it could have, but it's not. So for me, the Creator was very, very disappointing, because I liked a lot of those ideas, but I think that it is so straightforward in its narrative, and it's so predictable, it is so, you know, so classic in its structure, that I was mostly kind of annoyed and kind of bored the whole way through. You know, like, sure, the action scenes are good, but if you don't have good characters in the action scenes to worry about, they don't matter. They really don't. And there are some things, you know, that I like, again, like
what is that? To post that?
Cool. While I'm talking, thanks. Cool, thanks. That is a very nice view to do while I'm speaking. But yeah, you know, I like the cast. I like Ken Watanabe, you know, even though he's not very interesting in this. This had a lot of potential, and to me, this movie is kind of similar to AI that we have right now. It has a lot of potential, but for now, it's kind of meh. Yeah. So I don't know if you said something, Multi. I couldn't hear you.
I was on mute.
Yeah, my bad with that. I just had to. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Artificial intelligence can be dangerous if given to the wrong person. Anyhow, I'm wondering if any of you would like to add more to the Creator.
That's it for me.
Okay, well, I will sound crazy. I give this movie a 9.7 out of 10.
Yeah, you sound crazy, man.
Bad movie 10.
Crazy.
Cole, what's your grade?
6.
Gray, what's your grade?
So there's a bunch of plot holes. You know, like, for instance, the kid somehow can stop everybody else from turning her off. I don't know. It's so strange. And then somehow he has time to go get his hair braided in that same time too. Like, I don't know. If you remember, his hair was out and all natural, and then when he comes back in to shut her off, he's now got cornrows again. I don't know. I think there's a commentary there as to, you know, how free he is, kind of mimics his hair, and I don't know. Yeah. Like, it's just interesting, but the best I could give this is a 7. There's potential, but it just doesn't pay off things in the right way for me.
I gotta defend that thing where they can't really turn her off. Well, she's basically...
You're gonna defend it without saying that it's a plot contrivance, because come on, man, like, she's now invincible.
Well, she is slowly starting to think for herself instead of just being a tool. She becomes a person, basically. A
Okay, but she
broken
got
person.
shot, and that shut her off earlier, so they can't just shoot her.
Well, she evolved, and that goes back to what Alex
like a
said
Pokemon.
about. That goes back to the theme of progression and evolving. So
I didn't
this
say that. I didn't say that was the theme of the movie. I said that the movie never stopped. It never stopped to breathe. It never stopped to give characters a moment to talk and to develop. I didn't say the theme of the movie was progression. It's about ideological wars and religious wars. They're literally trying to kill God. That big laser in the sky that comes down and
that was
destroys
God,
everything.
yeah.
It is God. Like that is the point of the movie. It is about because there's religion in this world. The robots have their own type of spirituality and religions, and they were created by God, by humans, and they are trying. And now they're at war with humans. Therefore, at war are with God. And so they are trying to destroy this big laser in the sky, which represents God. They are trying to kill God to become independent. And yeah, that's what the movie is. It's not about progress.
Well, there's some progress. Anyhow, go for your grade now, Alex.
Uh, yeah, even though I think I think the movie has really interesting themes. The visuals are stunning, the action scenes are good, and the world is beautiful and brims with details and love. It's just too bland a plot and too basic, and with very boring and undeveloped characters. So for me, this will be a 6. It's a bit better than what it should have been, but yeah, it's a 6.
Okay. Well, I will ask you. Have you seen Lucifer or Black Mirror episode 5 and 6?
Nope, I have not.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I don't watch TV that much. I don't watch TV shows that much.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you very much for both intros. As I said, Window to Our Mind will be some kind of surprise, a reveal of it for next season, which is next month. Anyhow, Gray, what do you have going on your channel?
Absolutely nothing. You can catch me every Thursday on that darn Kiddas channel.
Okay, well, thank you again. You're amazing, Gray, and as usual, you impressed me. You have seen 6 movies. Again, that's great. Alex, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
I mean, I don't do much on the internet, but I can say something. I have just signed a contract to direct a film, so that is happening.
Oh, that's good. Which type? Which genre?
I cannot really talk about it for now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm going to be working on that in the next few months.
Still exciting.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
well, I'm doing two. I'm doing two, a short and a feature, but yeah. So the feature will take longer. I mean, I can say it's. I don't think it's a movie that Multi is going to watch because it's a documentary.
Oh my, no way! I'm not watching. Sorry,
Oh,
bro.
no, we can review it in the future. Okay.
Sure.
Maybe
I mean, he doesn't have to watch it.
You. Maybe
It'll be a bad movie take.
You.
But yeah,
is it going to sting when Multi says "not funny, not funny, not funny" about your project?
I will not give a shit. But yeah, so it's a docs take a lot of time to be made, so this is going to take years. The short though I'm shooting in April or May, and yeah, and I'll send you the link to see it before I send it to festivals, so you will be like the first people to see it, I guess.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Fun. That's VIP tickets. That's great, man. So again, guys are great. I'm glad you were added to the roster, man. Alex, you always bring really fun insight. I'm glad. It's always a blast every week.
Happy to be here. I'm happy to be here.
And thank you again to the both of you, Gray and Alex. I will wish you both a great day. Take care, and we will talk later.
Always awesome talking to you guys.
Yeah, take care, guys.
So, Cole, here we are with Lucifer or Black Mirror? Actually, we will start with Black Mirror
Yeah,
because
we'll start
this.
with Black Mirror because Lucifer I have the least out of all topics this week to say about, so it's better to just save that for last. Let me just like say everything quickly about that, and then I'll let you go until we
Yeah.
end it. But yeah, so Black Mirror episode 5. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I thought you guys would catch up on it then. So I was writing notes down for episodes you guys haven't even seen yet when I was away. So that's funny. But I'll like get some of the notes again from the other episodes, I guess. But yeah,
So
I mean, if I can find them. Okay, yeah, they're right here. But yeah, Black Mirror, right? Episode 5, I guess first. I mean, unless you want to do episode 6 first.
no, five is
Okay,
fine.
yeah. I mean,
That's the
it is.
military one, right?
Yes. And my thoughts on this is this, right? I enjoyed it overall. Like, really, there's rarely a Black Mirror episode where I don't at least enjoy. Even, the lowest caliber ones I have enjoyed and thought were at worst competent or pretty solid still.
Yeah.
And besides, like, later on, though, then it's going to go downhill. But we're still on season 3 to season 4, so this is when it's good. But once we get to season 5, then rest in peace. But yeah, so I still enjoyed it overall, but it's definitely one of the weaker episodes to me, especially in a season as strong as I thought this was. It doesn't necessarily do anything bad, though. That isn't the reason why it's weaker. It just doesn't do anything new or exceptional at all. Sort of like the Elemental film, except it's a bit better than that. Like, you just knew the entire twist from the very beginning. The very first like 30 seconds of the film, you knew the twist because it's been done a million times before. And the characters, a lot of them even though they try to do like certain things with them and also backstory that make them not feel that way, they still feel one dimensional in their execution of them. And I wish they expanded more on the main character's backstory. I mean, they kind of left a lot of that up for like interpretation of like what might have happened and which can lead to some pretty dark theories, especially with the very last shot. But I still wish they could have done a bit more than that. But yeah, I mean, it was all right overall, but nothing special, and that's really my whole thoughts on it. This was just a forgettable, okay episode that, yeah, it's kind of done things we've seen many times before, and especially after watching The Creator. But yeah, what did you think?
Actually, this was, well, the other episodes are very far away in my memory, but just because it was 1 hour long and I was hooked from start to finish, and I liked what was going on and the story, and the idea of dehumanizing the enemy was well handled and well made. I think this was my favorite episode in the entire show so far. But again, the other episodes are so far away in my memory, so it's kind of unfair. But yeah, I had a blast. I really liked it. Um, it was entertaining to see the guy downfall when he realizes, oh my, I was shooting down people. And then he realizes, oh, he had that chip in his brain. Oh, he actually wanted that chip in his brain. And now he is kind of stuck with it. And that chip has good sides and bad side. And he is now just a weapon. So this episode was really, really strong. I just liked it so much. It's weird because I don't have much more to say, but I do think the acting was on point, the action was on point, the idea and the story was on point, and I liked it. I just don't have much to say there. So this episode for me is a 10 out of 10. What about you?
This is like a 5. Yeah, it's just average to me.
Oh, very interesting. So I guess we can already move on to episode 6. What did you think of that one?
Yeah, I thought this was excellent and is on par for me with like episode 3 and episode 4 from the season. it's a concept many people have kind of come up with or thought of over the years, but this was kind of one of the first to actually do so on film. I thought it was executed just very well with fantastic performances and pacing. The climax was gut wrenching. I love how it ended with that one character. Kind of gave some like fucking Silence of the Lambs, fucking flashbacks to it. Think it has many good messages to it as well with social media nowadays, obviously, and being more mindful of what you say online, where even if you don't mean it in certain ways, as a lot of the characters didn't, such as the one guy who voted for the dude behind it. I mean, it can still lead to things and you could still get caught in the crossfire. So it's kind of like a good message on just being completely, mindful of literally every post online. Yeah, I just love pretty much everything about it and just the whole concepts and everything. I was really invested into this and it flowed very well. About you?
I was shocked when I've seen the runtime. I was like, "What? What?" I got lucky. I was able to finish it like 10 minutes before the stream.
That's the one they get. I would look up like the episode runtimes before you watch them each week. They do get longer with certain ones because they get that Netflix funding now.
Yeah. So I was kind of surprised of the runtime. I still liked it a lot, and my only issue is telling instead of showing what happened with Garrett, the assault in the office, if I remember correctly. Um, anyhow,
What you mean the guy at the very end?
no, that was like when the girl was saying, "Oh yeah, Garrett was like harassing us, or he assaulted me, or something like that, or he was acting weird." Um, that was one of the suspect, basically. I say the end, but maybe that's like after the episode. I can't remember exactly, to be honest.
I mean, it's been a little while since I seen this episode. I didn't rewatch it for this, so I don't know what exactly you mean. But was it like earlier on in the episode?
It's like between the 40-minute mark and maybe the 1 hour mark. Um,
Okay, well, what I will say again, I didn't fully watch it, but I will say, I mean, I from what how you describe it, I don't think it was like super important to actually show.
but for
That's
me,
the
it
reason
is.
why. I mean, it really wasn't though to like because there is a main key of screenwriting, and I know this just because Alex told me recently because yeah we chatted couple weeks ago on Discord and voice chat about he was showing me his screenplay for the short film and giving me tips basically, and he basically said just like make sure each scene has a purpose to it, and yeah, that one doesn't move the plot around it. It won't have any purpose
It
to it because
actually
it's
did, because that placed the suspect number one in the radar of the cops. They didn't thought of him, and then because of that story, they were like, "Oh, that may actually be our guilty one." So it did in fact the story.
yeah,
Uh,
but it didn't. It you not if you had it, then it wouldn't like change anything. No, like and plus
well, you
everything
get
is
to see it
supposed.
first end, but
Yeah, but
yeah.
everything is kind of like in real time, though. That's the thing. So if they just have like that random thing there, it would have been a little off. But again, it wouldn't have been like too important. But I think also just the other thing is they didn't show other things they were talking about in like past tense like earlier on in the episode as well. So so it wasn't the only time that happened, and I think they purposely just don't show that stuff like that one and also the ones earlier on, so it adds to the mystery and the detective elements there. I think if they kind of to like leave some things up for the imagination, kind of, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I don't have an issue with it, but I don't know.
Anyhow, I like the investigation. That felt like an episode or two of like Lucifer, but sci-fi instead of like magic and fantasy. So I like the approach of that one, tracking the bees, questioning people, asking questions around, and just like what you said, the entire approach of social media, how toxic it can be, and how people can really be dirty. Why don't they even realize it? Like by the end, there's that blonde cop in the precinct. He's like, "Oh, I will vote as well." Then he realizes that everyone that votes becomes a target. So he's like, "Oh crap! I just shot myself in the foot." And that was like deep, and I like that. The message were really good, and another great episode, and it's hilarious how when I first seen the runtime, I was like, "Oh, this will drag on forever. It will have pacing issue," but no, I was hooked. I was excited, and I liked the trip a lot. But unfortunately, I don't have much more to say. Again, the music is good, the acting is on point, and how it depicts society and people in it, man, it's like history lesson, but for the future. It's like future lesson. So yeah, Black Mirror, really good TV show. Season 3 ends on a blast. Um, Episode 6 for me is a 9.7 out of 10. What about you?
Yeah, I'd give this a 9.
Okay. So let's start off Lucifer season in your case 1 and 2 because you were not around
Right.
last week.
Well, I basically I kind of put just my thoughts basically on season 1 are the same as like season 2 basically. So I'm just gonna kind of like say them together. And as for the episodes, like my favorite and least favorite for season 1, I forgot to do that. I did do it for season 2, but not for season 1. But
Okay.
I mean, if you want, I can try to like pull it up and remember. But
Yeah.
okay, but look, in terms of the visuals and portrayal of this, I thought it was lacking a bit, kind of plain. Very disappointed on those aspects, and compared to many other interpretations of this stuff that I've seen. I also wasn't a big fan of the cop drama aspect of the show. I compared to other things in it. The rest of it I did enjoy, and I like the music. While I don't like some visual portrayals of character, I do like Tom Ellis in the role. I
He
like
is
the direction.
perfect.
Yeah, and I like the direction and the tone really elevates it and makes scenes that wouldn't be good otherwise into something quite enjoyable. Now, it doesn't do anything special for me, so I was hoping they would transition into something more bold basically by season 2, but then season 2 ended up being kind of like just my same thoughts on this overall, so I'm hoping they do so in season 3 more. I heard from people online though that season 3, either people say they really love the show at that point or it kind of goes downhill for them, so see. But yeah,
So
those were my overall thoughts. As you know, I didn't like write down too much, but I did enjoy the show and in the 2 seasons. I just don't have like too much to say. I'll make sure to write down a lot more for season 3 though.
yeah, I gotta say, like, I have seen 5 of the episodes in season 3, and it's a small step down. But I'm worried about one thing, the cast. They keep the same large cast, and I feel like Ella, the new character, the like doctor
Mhm.
they added in season 2, she was fine in season 2 because she was just a plot device, and like they also added Charlotte, which was basically Lucifer's mother. So that was another character that didn't matter a lot. So they added basically like many characters to like fill the story and make it bigger and stuff. That's normal because you go from like 13 episodes to 18. So like at that point if you jungle with that many characters, like it's harder, you know. And in season 2, I was like, okay, I gave some like freedom to Ella. I was like, okay, she's a plot device character, but I hope they will do something important with her in season 3. And so far in season 3, I don't see it. She is still like plot device, and if that doesn't change, then I will hold it against the show, because now it's like you added this character in season 2. You had like 2 seasons, being season 2 and 3, to make her bigger and give her growth and change her, but you didn't. That's sad. But I will also add this, that um, a new character they add in season 3 is amazing. But now that's a tangent for next week. So I like this show so much. Season 1 for me was a 10 out of 10. Flawless, amazing. And season 2 was another really big blast for me. Um, Now, I will let you guess what's my top 3 and worst 3 for season 2.
Okay, I'm gonna say your top 3 are episode 13, episode 11, and episode 5. And then I'll say I think your worst 3 are episode 3, episode 8, and then episode 15, I'll say. And for me, I'll just say mine quickly, I guess. My favorites were episode 6, episode 13, and episode 16. And my least favorites were episode 17, episode 14, and episode 2.
That's very interesting. So here's my top 3, with a 10 out of 10, and in Mark's top 5 episode in the entire show, with episode 13, one of my favorite. That was a great one. If I
I
remember
mean, that's
correctly,
everyone's favorite.
that's the one where Lucifer goes in hell to save Chloe, right? Is it the
Yes.
one?
Yeah, yes. He
Yeah,
goes, yeah, basically hell's hell to bring back, yeah.
that was wow. That was wonderful. I was like, wow. Lucifer comes from someone that is very selfish, self-centered, to someone that is willing to give his life for someone else. So that's like peak growth. Um, in second place, we got episode 10, with in Mark's top 10 in the entire show. Um, I would need to look at my notes deeper to kind of realize why. And third place would be episode 6, with another like 10 out of 10. And there's the close honorable mention with episode 11. I gave it 10. Like when I look at my notes, there's so many 10 out of 10s episode. Like this show is just doing it for me. And this is why when I see season 3, it's a small step down, because I don't see as many 10s. And even there, the 10s don't feel like they're as good as season 2. So, yeah. Um, when it comes to my worst 3, episode 15 with a 9 out of 10. And I will read out. Okay, first issue, plot convenience, the kid being around as Lucifer entered Chloe's apartment. Plot convenience, bumping into the boy's mother. And the third issue, plot convenience, been bumping into the girl. Uh, for a total of 9 out of 10. Um, Second place in the worst 3, with episode 4 and a 9.5. out of 10. So I look into my notes. First issue, plot convenience, bumping into the dead body. Second issue, plot convenience, bumping into the guy with the tattoo. And yeah, um, in last place of that worst tree, episode 8 with a 9.7 out of 10. I'm looking into my notes. My only issue, telling instead of showing. So this is telling, pun intended. Um, so what I like so much is 90%, 95% of the cast got amazing character arc and character growth. Considering they added 2 characters in the roster, that's really smart. And only one of the 2 characters got left out, and that's Ella. And it's interesting how the rest of the cast, they all got something. They all got like that piece of that great meat they all need. I'm doing a rap now. Um, so next thing I really like, the lore is amazing. The villains were great, far better than season one. The music choice was even better than season one. Not that season one had bad choice, it's just elevated now. It's just like further and better. Um, the story was well connected with season one, which makes season one even more relevant as one building block of that big building. The action was great. More Maze. Maze, she is amazing. She is the female character you need. Despite being 18 episodes long, every episode mattered. No filler whatsoever. The message about parenting and religion was well written. It's in the same vein as season one. So for me, season two is the perfect follow up. It did everything season one did right. They did it right again, and I feel like they were able to push it a step further than season one. Um, I will never have enough praise for this show. I do think the therapy session are well written. Linda as a character, she is really entertaining, even if she is a plot device to give insight in the characters. She's well used. What would be your favorite characters, Cole?
Uh, I mean, probably just the main character. I really just love his progression over time.
Well, you will like season three even more then, because season three,
Okay, that's good.
if there's one thing that's wonderful about season three, and again, this is why I say it's a small downgrade, we still get great material for Lucifer and even Chloe. I think it's more like the rest of the cast that's kind of left out in season three.
I mean, what do you think of Charlotte again?
In season two, the mother, she was amazing. She got growth. I liked her a lot. Man, she was good. Like at first, I was worried. I was like, okay, she won't have many layers, but no, they added more floors. They made her entertaining. They basically used her as a way to tell, okay, she is just like Lucifer. Like she is female Lucifer, and that was the point of it, because Lucifer is a product of his mother and father, basically. So it makes sense. And she is like new to this world where Lucifer has been living for 5 years. So of course she will feel like that fish out of water. So it also used like Charlotte as a character to tell you, okay, Lucifer is no longer who he was in season one. So she's also like some kind of reflection of what Lucifer used to be in season one and like prior the show history and stuff. So I do think Charlotte was great. I'm not saying she's the best. I'm with you. Lucifer is the best character in the show, and I like Chloe a lot as well. I like Chloe a lot, but yeah, Lucifer is the best. Maze get really cool stuff with season 3. I will say this. Maze, you're great. But yeah, I'm like the new character they introduced in season 3 is just wow. Um so yeah, before we kind of give our grades and stuff, I will mention my side note I did kind of touch upon prior is I did consider lack of character growth for Ella, but then decided to let it slide only for this season since they still have growth for the rest of the cast. Ella also serves as plot device role very well. She will only be an issue in season 3 if she is still around but get no growth whatsoever. And I will be honest, 5 episodes into it, I feel like she is that drooling issue because she is the same Ella as season 2, and they they play her for comic relief. They play her to science stuff out, and it's cool. Like when you introduce the character and stuff, but now you're like really like it's your second year in the show. You need a story of your own. You need to be more defined, and you need to be more like developed so I can care more about you, even if you're likable, and if the actress is looking good and like the character is entertaining. It's not enough. I need an actual character and not like an idea. um so yeah, season 2 is slightly better than season 1, and I will give a well-deserved 10 out of 10 for Lucifer's second season. Uh, Season 1 also had a 10. What would be your grade you would give to season 2 and season 1 for the matter?
Well, I'll just say my grade is the same for both. It's an 8 out of 10. I did enjoy it. I did have just like some weaknesses with though, so as I mentioned, but yeah, I don't like it as much visually. It's disappointing to me, but I hope
Yeah.
it improves in the third.
And now we got with season 1 and 2 of Lucifer 5, 10 out of 10 for me when it comes to seasons of TV show. In the first place, Stargirl season 3 remains on top. In second place, Lucifer season 2. In third place, Lucifer season 1. In fourth place, Doom Patrol season 2. And in last place, Superman and Lois season 3. Um, Now I gotta say I'm excited about what comes next with Lucifer, despite being worried. I like this show. It's just very good. The characters are just well written. It's my jam, as they say. So yeah. Um I guess we are done for today. I'm excited to see what happens next. Um so yeah, what do you have going on your end of the internet, Cole?
Not much. I've just been busy with work recently and trying to write and other things, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know. There's nothing like right now, but yeah, well, wish I could say more, but yeah, probably more stream stuff with other people. Like I think Nerdman has been streaming every once in a while recently. Again, did one with him on the weekend. So yeah, hopefully get more of those. But yeah, just more streams like that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Cole, you are amazing. I'm glad you were back, and we had the first official stream with both you and Alex, which is very fun. Um, so yeah. With that being said, I think this is the perfect time to end this stream. Have a great day. Take care, and we will talk later, Cole.